and welcome. I am so glad that you are here for the last episode of this season of Awkward Sibling Hour. It's a very special episode. We are going to do the coolest thing. Everybody loves it every time we do it. And that is, we are going to talk about music. We're going to share our playlist and our songs that we've discovered lately or that somehow are significant or interesting or inspiring to us. And in general, we're going to have a good time because it's the last episode of the season. So we're going to have a fun time. It's a party. It's a party. So without further ado, let me get on to whoever is still here in the backstage. You know them. They're all fantastic. You remember Kat and Charlie and Laura and, of course, the mastermind of all of this, Tim. Yay!
Hello.
Thank you all for being here. Or at least not escaping quick enough. Thank you.
You got me. I forgot.
I love it. Your ADHD is finally useful to me. That you couldn't figure out your way out of a StreamYard lab.
Seriously, I was like, why am I in a different tab and why is Discord up? I was so confused.
Silly.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
I've been informed that apparently I'm you, minus a few decades.
Right?
Bam, the prequel. Like,
Yeah.
It's right there. It's right there. The
It's
prequel.
right there. Yep.
Like, she is now doing the same stuff in time travel, Maggie, as you do in your stories. Like, she's just spontaneously
fanfiction.
creating the same types of plots. It's like, they'll be wonderful and insane.
I'm gonna yeet the timeline.
Do you have a werecow yet?
No.
Give it time.
The important questions.
One of my stories was supposed to have a sentient plant creature that eventually, like, due to magic, got a human form
You know,
and
as you
like
go.
to eat cake for some reason.
Glory was just telling me about the DSM's, various diagnoses of medical lycanthropy and specific
Clinical.
forms, including
It is clinical lycanthropy.
clinical lycanthropy. And what's
It's
the
a
challenge?
real diagnosis of, I'm sorry, ma'am, sir, whomever, you have clinical lycanthropy. Y'all, that's a real thing. Megan is here as well.
I made it.
Yay.
Woo.
So, yeah, there's clinical lycanthropy. People apparently also can genuinely believe that they are a cow and wish to live as a cow. And that has its own, it's a sub-diagnosis of clinical lycanthropy.
Boy.
And apparently famous people have had clinical lycanthropy, including Nebuchadnezzar II. I can't make this up.
Well,
So I'm just saying, you can have people with clinical lycanthropy in your stories too, and it's absolutely truthful. Like truly no, that's the truth part. Yes, that was how I was regaling Tom earlier today.
Humans
How's
are
everything
weird.
Yes.
Good to hear. Tom, would you like to pitch further of this episode?
Okay. So here's the why I thought we needed this episode / excuse. We all are coping our best way we can. One of the less dangerous to ourselves type coping skills that's a little bit harder to abuse is music. Music is a great way to both affect your emotions, communicate with your lizard brain, and also affect nostalgia to kind of remember prior memories, whether you're trying to, remember happy stuff or trigger your, you're in a safe place and you want to trigger and deal with, harder to deal with the emotions. Music is a great way to do this. And so I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit more of the mental side, and then the songs we all use, to kind of have better tool set in our coping skills. Which is why, among the subjects I sent everyone a little list about was also, mixtapes, playlists, and DJs. Why mixtapes are making a comeback? Why are playlists not quite the same always? And what it is about having a good DJ? What's the difference?
Mm.
And then, of course, always finishing with bring out your songs. Bring out your favorite songs for this emotion, for
100%
this.
bring out your dad.
Bring out your songs. Bring
Yes.
out songs.
But I mean, and everyone here are writers. We're creative types. Song playlists are also a good way to get into the mindset of characters or locales or periods of time to help us better write the experiences there into more what do you call that, help yourself imagine more realistic, if you were there, how would you experience?
What is it? There's a term, I guess, in drag of like you're feeling yourself or you're feeling the moment.
I almost want to say like not that, but like immersion. Like you're
Yes, truly
immersing
immerse yourself.
in like, because sometimes a playlist actually is like Glory has like ambiance music and stuff playlists, all of the kinds. So that'd be like immersing yourself in the sounds.
Yeah.
I
And
saw
then
one
you-
on Glory's YouTube today that was the darkest academia playlist you don't tell anyone about.
Literally what it, because Tom was sitting there while I was going through the TV, just to see like how to kind of warm up after I'd woken up.
I like the dark
Hi, Jerry.
academia
Hey, Jerry.
playlists.
Yes. I love that scene from Legend when what's her name? Something Sarah, Mia Sarah is dancing with nobody and then a cape and then the devil, Lord, I don't.
We just like to
Shadow.
call him Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Boy, does that remind me of an old boyfriend I used to have named Tim. But anyway, not triggered at all. But like that, the music that plays and just that whole vibe in that scene really feels to me like some sort of dark academia where you're dancing on the precipice of true destruction. And those kind of things, if you need to be in that mood to write or you just want to feel in that mood because it's a Thursday, that is what I love about music, and also where visuals can kind of interact. And so people being able to construct those playlists in more visual formats like YouTube, I love it. I love having like a visual up on the screen while the music plays. And sometimes there's animation or there's some movement or they're just using pictures and changing the pictures once every minute or 2 minutes. And it really does help create that ambiance, that vibe to just toe dip in.
Sometimes you just need a good villain playlist.
Yes.
Yes. Also, sometimes, for some reason, there are some songs that it makes me think of a character, and I don't know, and it gets my brain going, but I'm like, this music has absolutely nothing to do with this. This is happy music, and this character's out here murdering people.
But are they happy murdering people?
They're just pissed off.
Well, now I'm just picturing that scene from, what was it? The Adult Swim claymation stuff.
You have a
Robot
neurotypical
Chicken.
figure out.
And their idea of Anakin's disassociation of, when he went evil, killing everyone. Just in a field of sunflowers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was some dark stuff.
That was.
There's a game that, I think it was a game, that one of the characters, it has a flamethrower, but when you watch like their video clip, like introducing the character, they don't see like the burning and the chaos. They see rainbows and butterflies and everything happen like happy, and it's like, and then it flips to what's actually happened. It's like, oh my.
Mm-hmm.
I also find that sometimes my music shifts based off of my moods. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm down when I'm pulling out the Linkin Park, the Red, the Breaking Benjamin, 1,000-Foot Crutch. Like, just all of my, I don't know what that genre is called, depressed music.
Isn't it like
That's my happy music.
That's
Okay,
like,
let's
I think
say,
that's emo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we have two
Emo
emos
punk,
here.
rebellion.
Well, there's also some Skillet in there, and
See, I'm the
Skillet's
exact
good.
opposite. Like, the happier the tones of the music I'm playing, the more you need to be worried about me.
Wait, did you say skillet or Skrillex?
Skillet,
Skillet.
like
Okay.
cooking on a skillet.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, here's something I know everyone here probably relates to.
Got a new agenda. I'm sniffing it.
Smell of new paper.
Smell all those VOCs from the adhesives.
Mhm.
So,
I don't need the brain cells. They're not doing me any good. They're just causing problems. They have to go.
Mood and a half.
If they didn't want destruction, they should have been useful.
So, Tom, I thought that you had an interesting theory about what was it? How to like find happiness again?
so this is that one of it's a coping mechanism, and in small doses or appropriate use, very healthy. In heavy doses, can be bad, like any coping skill. And that is nostalgia. So music is great about taking you back to moments in your life. Like, often music is linked to when you heard it and you had the highest amount of emotions while listening to the song. So it'll usually take you back to something very positive or very negative. And I figured out that when you reach a point where you kind of, like, I don't know about this whole midlife crisis BS. I have like a decade to 7-year crisis throughout my life. Like,
Same.
as I just go, wait, okay, I've semi-achieved, or I've realized they're impossible to achieve my goals from 5-7 years ago. Now what? And you kind of reach that ennui of, I'm just stuck here. One of the things I found useful is to use music to kind of bring you back to a prior point in your time when you were excited about things, when things were all new and changing. So, like, you know, after you graduate, that new point of where there's a lot of potentials, or when you actually when you graduate from each point of things, or when you know started a job, or after you left a job. But whatever that point is, you listen to a bunch of music of usually a particular type, and it'll bring you back to that mindset as well. And so it's a good way to kind of restoke your creativity, to remember what you were feeling and how you thought at that age. So, like, for me, listening to what is it, Fall Out Boy's second album, I think, and a couple other ones around 2005, 2006 really brings me back to that mindset when I was out of college. I'm a young adult, I'm figuring things out, I've got a bunch of friends, everything's potential, and that is harder for me to do now. I am, you know, definitely getting older and a little bit more curmudgeonly, and as Gord likes to say, sassy. You know, let alone, you know, headlines not helping. Y'all, those headlines. But it was a different I had a different way of viewing the world when I was at that age. And so it's useful sometimes for me to just listen to a playlist of those songs, of go, all right, how was I feeling then now? How would I tackle this problem if I had that type of thinking. Versus now where it's like, oh, body aches. Why? Why get out of this chair? Versus then I'm like, no, I can go fix that. That'll take me like 10 minutes and my life would be so much better. You know what? Maybe I should go do that. Music has some really cool abilities I think people don't often give credit to or use as part of their coping skill set. It's also a great way to communicate with your lizard brain. The back of your brain it only communicates in emotions. It only has feelings. And sometimes it wants to talk back to you and you'll start humming these little choruses and lines from songs. And it's just trying to remind you of something. And this is what I've now realized just recently is sort of the cause of what I think of as the Sting's Every Breath You Take syndrome. Or Billy Idol's White Wedding. Of like, these are not good songs if you listen to the lyrics. These are not people you want to be hanging around.
And yet people play these songs at weddings. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? But it's because
the chorus and the emotions you feel hearing the tunes puts you in a good mood. It's something you are nostalgic and you enjoy and you are happy about. It doesn't matter what the lyrics are. That's kind of the whole point of what's their name who sang Hook?
Oh, Blues Traveler?
Of it doesn't matter, they literally say it doesn't matter what I say.
Quote the lyrics, Tom. It doesn't matter what I say.
The hook brings you back. It's the words you do notice because your lizard brain, the back of your brain, can only handle 2 to 3 word concepts. It does not have a sentence structure, but it definitely can tell 2 to 3 words. It knows what those mean. It knows that feel. And that's where you'll enjoy these songs. And that's where these songs help you kind of bring back these feels and emotions. And so that's also wanted to bring up is, what are these playlists that help us cope? What are the ones that help us, get through, get happy again? I know it's a mystery emotion this year.
What is happiness?
It's still there.
How do you recognize it when you have it?
Yes.
Wait,
Hey, CB.
We're supposed to be happy? Wait, what?
It's not illegal yet to feel happy.
Really? I mean,
know.
maybe not in the state you're in, but I'm pretty sure in my state they have.
They're trying really hard.
Missouri really is trying. You're right.
Yeah.
Missouri says the problem is that I'll listen to something in a new scenario for daydreaming or something, and it'll overwrite the original memory of the song.
Well, see, that's
go
the
on.
thing about memory, though, is that it is plastic, and it's one of the things that we need to remember because we have a bad problem as a species in thinking my memory is perfect. I remember exactly how it was. Blah 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 blah. Oh no, you don't. Every time you remember anything, you change it. Every time, because the way our meat brains work is it pulls the memory out and then it re-encodes it back in. Like the imagery from Inside Out is actually kind of right there, where your brain goes in and pulls it off the shelf and then has to put it back on the shelf. But that process changes it. And this is one of the things that I've used music for a lot in my life because, trauma is to recontextualize those memories and to help soften them in a lot of ways. It's one of the reasons why I have such a dark sense of humor. And yes, it's partially a coping mechanism because axe murderers will axe murder, y'all. I mean, but
You're not wrong.
When
Axe murderers need a forest to feel
when
happy.
I was having a lot of PTSD moments with that happening, I would put on a Flock of Seagulls. I ran so far because that song makes me laugh so hard. And it softened the memory so I can tell those stories now with a sense of humor because yes, I was terrified when when the guy was chasing me, but now as that memory is going through my head, I just and I ran So, you know, like it's just it softened the blow. It helped me rewrite that traumatic memory that I had into something that I can live with and it not be a festering destructive force pulling me down.
Yes. And that is, and there's nothing wrong with the part of you can change the emotions of a memory. You can change the feelings and the associations. You can do that for the positive or the negative by being like, I know everyone else always looks at Gloria and I weird when we say any lines like this. But like I know this is the worst phrasing, but just enjoy the humor of it. There are definitely times throughout the year I enjoy that my parents have both passed away. So I do not feel obligated to text or call them at the moment and go, okay, you know how I acted when I was a kid and you were just exhausted with me and I said no at all this stuff? I now get you and you were right. I do not have to at any point tell my parents they were right about many things now that, you know, I'm on the other side.
They did not last long enough for us to actually be wise enough to say, hey, there were a few things you were right about. Ha ha ha. We never had to say it to their faces, just to each other.
But
Mom was right about this, or Dad was right about this. It's like, yes, but now we never have to tell them.
But it does also mean, though, that I am recontextualizing those memories of, I know how I was feeling as a kid, but I also now see from the adult side what their obligations and capacities even were. And that just was never going to be an option what I wanted. And that's okay. I can see, though, where they were trying to show their love in some of these, but yeah, like there's nothing wrong with, you know, you take the memory out, you look at it, and you go, all right, now I know better. What was it?
It can be useful as a way to recontextualize traumatic memories. It is something that I have done as well. There's a couple memories I have that are very traumatic, and there was music playing in that actual moment. And so every time I hear that music, I remember that moment as if it had been in Tupperware this whole time, kept fresh as the day it was made. But knowing that meant that I could choose when to play that music. So I would wait till I was in a safe space and speak to people who would be around about, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to trigger myself on purpose. And I'm going to be in a weird headspace. Come and get me in 4 hours. You know, that sort of while I process and, you know, maybe do my art therapy and cry and maybe hit a lot of pillows with other pillows. You know, like I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do. And they're like, okay, are you sure you're all right? Like, yeah, I want to do it. I feel strong. I want to do it now. So I get to choose when I'm triggered. And for the most part, thankfully, the music involved in some of my trauma, it's not popular music. I'm so grateful. You know, it's nothing that like plays all the time. It was truly niche music at the time. So it's fantastic for me. But it is a way to revisit it on my own terms. But that is true also of good memories. There are things like I cannot hear Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you remember September? I think is when I can hear that. And every time I hear that song, I am back at this cookout that my Girl Scout leader threw for Juneteenth. And as the only white girl in my Girl Scout troop of 30 girls, I was still invited. And it was fantastic. And the other girls convinced me that I could get away with bringing back a whole bunch of desserts to their secret little corner around the house.
She's just going to carry them like
loaded down with peanut butter cake. And it is a wonderful memory as they are showing, like, here, use your white privilege for good. Now get us all the desserts. Like, okay, I'll go. And then there's all the African-American adults who are part of this cookbook going, what are you doing? And it's like, getting cake. You're going to eat all that? Maybe. And they're like, here, I'll help. Going, oh, there's a whole contingent of girls. Okay. And then me going back for seconds, they're like, aw. And they're like, is the white girl is that how she got fat? And they're like, no, she's actually getting it for the whole troop, but they know that their mamas would not let them have more than one piece. And like, okay, well, you go take all of it, go serve, white girl, go serve all the girls. Okay. It's like, all right. And then it's like this wonderful, adorable memory I have every time I hear Earth, Wind, and Fire play. And I can revisit it. It's like a time travel thing. I can revisit it anytime I want and remember this fantastic. I can practically taste the Shasta soda. So that is like one of the wonderful things about music is when there's just an emotional memory and your music can trigger it. And you can have it anytime you want. Especially in the 21st century where it is so easy to access music. Mm-hmm. It's truly look, I understand we are living through an apocalypse and it is genuinely terrible. But there are some really interesting silver linings I never saw coming. And one of them is being able to access any music, no matter how esoteric or barely distributed.
We found the specific version of Jingle Bells that my family loves that was on a cassette that my grandmother in Canada had.
Oh,
and
wow.
From the 70s. And it is English, and then it is French, and then it is combined with the descant. And like, it is so fun. And we found that thing.
That is some esoterica right there, Laura.
It's like, yes. Thank you.
But yeah, like, isn't it like to be able to revisit these happy emotional memories as well, like that, and like remember so keenly what it felt like to feel that way when you were that age, and you thought this would be forever, or at least for now, and like it's like you just time travel back. Isn't it so cool? It's wonderful.
And that's what's like, nostalgia is talked about very negatively, and it can be very abused and become, detrimental, just like any coping mechanism. But also like any coping mechanism, it can also be really helpful to help you cope with the here and now. Of, you don't get to, especially now where you don't get to hang out with your family in the holidays like you used to, where travel's so much harder and, family members have passed away, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You can still use music to go back to those moments when you were all there together, just having fun, and give your mind a break as well of going, I'm safe here.
Yeah.
There is a moment I feel safe. I know I'm safe here. Let me have the back of my brain and, my body feel that same safety.
I mean, Laura, you reminded me of, okay, so our little sister, who is 7 years younger than me, I'm the oldest, was like obsessed with Christmas music, like her entire childhood and into her adolescence. Like, when I say obsessed, the only music she ever wanted to sing was Christmas songs. Did not matter the time of year. It was just all the time. So anytime we were on a car ride, which we often, so when she was a kid, we lived in Oxford, Mississippi. And for a variety of reasons, we ended up as a family taking a lot of road trips to Memphis, Tennessee, which was about 90 minutes each way. So, and this is the early 90s. So we were in a Plymouth Fury 2, the car that came after the model Christine, the car was. It was white exterior with a light blue interior, I believe.
Yep.
Y'all, it was a land yacht of all things. Anyway, and the radio only sometimes worked, rarely. So if it was hot outside, like summer in Mississippi, the radio did not work because it got too hot. So we'd have to sing if we wanted to do anything other than squabble. And so, of course, our little sister, the only thing she ever wanted to say was Christmas songs. So we all had to inadvertently learn all the Christmas songs she knew. And to this day, when I am missing that moment of being in the back of the Plymouth Fury 2 with my brother and sister on the way to Memphis, all I have to do is play that song. What is it? Up on the rooftop, reindeer call something Santa Claus.
Up on the roof.
Up on the
Click, click, click. Down through the chimney with old Saint Nick.
But now sing it like a child, loud and out
Ho
of
ho
tune.
ho!
Yes, always
Oh
love
my
that
God.
part. And I'll just play it on TV and sing along badly because that's the memory. And it is fantastic to have that memory that I can call on anytime, even though now, yes, just like Cherry says, now I also in the memory remember playing it on the TV in my living room. Ho, 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 because she used to want me to do the ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 who wouldn't know? Like, I don't know why she was into this. But that's the memory. And it's wonderful, even though this is not my favorite Christmas song. But, and it's, like, no offense if it is your favorite. It's cool. But it's just not my favorite. But it's my favorite because I can hear my little sister sing loudly and out of tune every time I play this stupid song. And that's something I can I can time travel to anytime I want, which is so awesome. And I can feel that feeling again. And that is a comfort when you're living through an apocalypse. Also, I can share it with y'all. And now when y'all hear it, you will think about this little girl that you never got to meet. It's just singing in this car with all the windows down in the heat of Mississippi summer going, ho, 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 who wouldn't know?
So I went to a French drawing school in the town next to my town in California. And so it was usually after school or on the weekends. And the radio had a set playlist they would play every day, same hour. So it was the same songs every time you drove. So it was always Sweet Escape, Gwen Stefani, and Pocket Full of Sunshine. It's like, oh my gosh. Every time, every drive. So it just brings me back to then whenever I hear it.
Oh, you want some? That reminds me. You want some ironic memory? You know, because again, with those set playlists while you travel.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Philippines, to get to most locations, you're taking the bus, you're taking, or most of the time actually, if you want to travel in luxury with some air conditioning, you take, these vans that'll fit, 6 to 8 people and, drive somewhere. And invariably, for some reason, at the time when I was there, what did they love to listen to? John Denver. So I can't remember her name.
Barbara Streisand.
Well, Barbara Streisand as well,
Or
but no,
Celine
there's
Dion.
another one.
Those are the three. Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, John Denver.
There's another one. I can't remember her name. She is a young woman of color.
You've not narrowed this down.
Huh?
You've not narrowed this down like you think you have.
And look, the worst part is all I can remember about her was a skit they did on A Living Color of how she wrote this song that everyone played on the radio. Of all these stuff going wrong outside her window, like someone like.
Are you talking about Dido?
No. Of color. You know her name if she was American. But anyway, mostly it was John Denver. This one take. So, in my head, hearing the song "Country Roads" makes me think of Mindanao, Philippines.
They got country roads, it's true.
And so it's like it looks similar, but not quite the same as West Virginia. But it's not that far off, actually. It's just, I don't think West Virginia has so many palm trees.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Or whatever you call those plants with the giant leaves.
As somebody who spent way too much time in West Virginia, I love the idea of palm trees all over West Virginia.
Yeah. Hello, Spence. Spence says my childhood music was almost exclusively LimeWire mixes my grandma made for me. That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
So I have like lots of CDs, and so I would rip the CDs to my computer and then make mixtapes and have those in the car.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem was one of our cars didn't have a CD player; it only had a cassette player. So we would listen to my parents' old cassettes. So we had Tears for Fears. We had who else was in there? Steely Dan, Little River Band, like all of those cassettes we had.
Doobie Brothers.
Creedence Clearwater Revival. Am I quoting old late at night commercials of like, you can get this whole set, 5 volumes for $20 plus $10 shipping and handling?
But I mean, but like as you know, Spence was pointing out with that of there's also music that we can program ourselves to get into a mode or a thought process of like get up and go.
Scary skeletons. It is now Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
Living Tombstone remix.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, there's so many uses for listening to Black Parade.
I still do. I have a playlist in my computer that is all Samoan and Hawaiian music that I used to listen to write my young adult sci-fi novel. And so sometimes I still just want to slip back in there, and so I'll play the playlist.
The cherry is like, go on.
Speaking of American as seen on TV commercials, get me right in the nostalgia. You're not alone, honey. Does anybody remember Ronco?
Oh my goodness.
Ronco electric food dehydrator. The Ronco rotisserie chicken machine or whatever it was.
Cooker. Rotisserie cooker.
Cooker. All of those Ronco things.
And don't forget the giant Ronco injection syringe for your chicken. We're just gonna stuff whole garlic cloves and stuff in this syringe. Just
I saw those.
It was so weird.
Syringes.
And it's just like looking like a horror victim. You're supposed to now put it in an oven. Like you're pretending it's a horror theme. Why didn't they air it for Halloween, y'all? Why not?
You said like American commercials. My brain immediately went to Transformers.
ShamWow, yeah.
Well, yes, the chop. I agree.
Or all the OxyClean.
OxyClean.
Yeah.
I know. For me, Enya, if you want to, truly, the commercials, it's, oh God, don't start playing Sail Away.
No.
Oh,
So many commercials.
No, don't play In the Arms of the Angels.
Oh God, no.
No.
Yeah, there was some music video we were watching recently of hers, of like, look, it's before that song.
It was Possession. I was reviewing songs for subbies. And you were like, I keep waiting for like sad little dogs to show up. Oh, like, wrong song. This is not In the Arms of an Angel.
That Sarah McLachlan song.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Happy Go Lucky is my mom's go-to cleaning soundtrack, and she'd only put it on if she was in a good mood and cleaning.
So again, a good association, and like, yeah, I can do some cleaning too.
Our mother used to clean strictly to James Bond movies and the first original 3 Star Wars movies. Dad had made them as VHS playlists for her. So she'd pop one in and say, everybody who's staying in is cleaning, and everybody who is leaving, I am locking the door.
Oh, the power she found when they started making those 8-hour record, cassette tapes.
Yeah, the long play. Yeah. And Dad would just load as many like James Bond movies onto the 8-hour VHS.
We had the extended Lord of the Rings Fellowship on dual VHS.
Yes. So yeah, it was like, so to me, if I see James Bond movies, the old James Bond movies.
Mhm.
I think she primarily liked the Sean Connery James Bond. And if I see that, it's like, do I want to go outside or am I ready to clean? Like, even though the woman is dead, I don't have to clean anything. That is how I feel. But yeah, like if I see Sean Connery but I'm dodging bullets, I suddenly have to get up and start tidying up. It is this very strange, like,
If wrestling comes on the TV, I'm like, oh, I have to go to bed. Because when wrestling came on, that's when I was supposed to be in bed. When in reality, we would all sit in the bedroom door because Dad could not see from his spot on the couch our door. So all three of us would be squished in our bedroom door like... And then he'd hear us go, yes! Like when they did something, like in the fight.
Like little raccoon eyes through the door crack.
Oh, we didn't actually have a door. We had a curtain. So we were all literally just in the door.
CB, hush.
How dare
Don't come for us like that.
How dare you come?
Monday Night Raw specifically was what it was.
Mhm.
When it would come on when we had to go to bed.
I'm a little bit older, so for me, if I put on an episode of Cheers, because it was always one of the last things we could watch, it's always I will just suddenly get drowsy. It's like, this is the sleepy time.
For me, Bill Nye the Science Guy reminds me of, like, we'd watch Bill Nye the Science Guy and then we'd immediately eat dinner afterwards because that's about the time that it came on in the afternoon. And so it just reminds me of, like, eating potatoes and whatnot at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Bill Nye in science class in middle school, in 6th grade. So
Nice.
We used to watch it after school.
I think I can almost smell the classroom. We had 3 pet snakes in that classroom. So we had all the shavings and stuff.
It's a lot of
Mhm.
snakes.
They were rosy boas.
That's too many snakes.
And we had a claw-footed bathtub full of pillows. And we had dinosaur-shaped pillow chairs that you could sit in. And, you weren't allowed to take the snakes into the tub because they would get lost in the pillows. But,
Oh, God.
yeah, you could just hold them and do your work.
Yeah, that wouldn't work for me. I would not be able to be in that classroom. They would have to, like, move me to another classroom that doesn't have the snakes in it, because no.
Agreed.
But again, though, like,
They were so smooth.
like that is the use, though, of these songs and these and
Memories.
TV shows of nostalgia can be a positive coping skill if you use it as a coping skill, not as a way of avoiding problems. But like, remembering those shows you used to watch when you were a child before you go to bed is actually a good way to get your brain
Rainbow.
to start relaxing.
With all of us kids, we would watch BattleBots. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. It's like we wanted to build one.
And like
The closest we got was building an electric solar car. But,
and thanks to the questionable reality of the internet, between Dailymotion and YouTube, you can find old episodes of all these shows, including these ones that were just live performances, like Raw on Monday and stuff. Like, they're still there.
Yeah, a lot of people recorded these, and it is amazing how many people have now taken their recordings and uploaded them to the internet to make them available to everybody. And you can actually, even when the tracking's slipping, you can see all of it.
Like, there's a YouTube channel called Rinse Repeat, which
they
puts
rebooted
together.
BattleBots?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
They rebooted. Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
We did.
But like, Rinse Repeat puts together these 4-hour cartoon blocks
Mhm.
of shows from different years and decades, along with the commercials. For that little
Full
hit of
feel.
nostalgia and
You want
fun.
that
Is like,
full-
oh, it's not that I hate commercials. I just don't like modern commercials. They suck. I
Yeah.
still actually enjoyed most of the old commercials. They're like, these are fun and
Tom
silly.
has caught me more than a few times watching, Dave's Archives
Yes.
on YouTube, where it's just like 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes of 1988 commercials or Christmas commercials from the 80s.
I was gonna say, we have watched together hours, literal hours of commercials, of especially Christmas commercials from different decades.
Where
Yes.
the kid is a snowman, has to eat Campbell's soup.
Yes. Or Ronald McDonald is ice skating and is helping the kid, the youngest, the littlest kid, roll ice skate on the pond as the other kids are playing because, you know, McDonald's, no one gets left behind. What?
They've rebooted Thundercats a couple times.
But yeah, like, so let's really talk about, I guess, like, because music really can affect your feelings. And that's one of the things I talked to Tom about. I'd noticed watching these old 80s, 70s, and 80s commercials of nearly every product back then used to have its own jingle or full-fledged song. And these were good songs. It's like, this is the problem. These were really good songs, and it's not like that anymore. And that's part of the problem. But that's in part why these commercials are so watchable, is the music is good. And so, okay, so the reason why they talk about nostalgia being a bad thing is when somebody is so, it's one thing to revisit old memories or old mental pathways. It's another thing to live in it and refuse to live your life or really move forward in living your life.
The Mirror of Erised.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. That is the issue with nostalgia. It's okay to revisit it. It's not okay to become obsessed. And so while we're essentially kind of encouraging people to revisit their sense of nostalgia a little bit with a lot of music, as well as to find new ones, because we're going to talk about sharing playlists and seeing everybody's, you know, here, this is the music they like. You may discover new songs you weren't familiar with, or you may discover old songs you weren't familiar with. Growing up in Mississippi, there was no rock stations. It was only country music and classical music because of Mississippi Public Broadcasting. It's the only reason we had classical music. But otherwise, it was all country music stations. And so the only rock music I used to hear, or pop music even, was on TV and in films. So you may discover old music or new music you had never heard of. But again, I want to point out, make sure you're still trying to move forward in your life and in your thoughts. That it's one thing to revisit happy memories with music. It's another thing to get kind of obsessed and not like make new creative works or build new friendships. And that's it. It's like nostalgia is sort of like any other drug. A little bit can be medicine and too much can be dangerous.
So this is on the same topic, but slightly different. One of the reasons you hear a lot of people saying bad things about nostalgia is when the word was coined, it was coined in reference to soldiers in a pointless, useless war, not wanting to fight and just kind of like, fine, shoot me to the enemy because they just wanted to go home. They just wanted to go home. And that's where the word was coined. And because of the connotations there of like they were literally throwing their lives away because they felt it was better to just get it over with than to continue this pointless slog. That connotation has remained. This idea that it's this bittersweet, it's this destructive, and it's just like, no, you grabbed a whole bunch of people that didn't want to be in a place, put them in a place and said, go do this thing that is not natural to you. And so words meanings change over time. And this is a problem that we're having with our society a lot now, is people want to stick with the old definition. Like, well, originally when that word was coined, it meant, and yes, but dictionaries are descriptive, not proscriptive. We don't rely on what the words used to mean. We rely on how we use them now.
Language
And we're
is
not,
living.
Yes. Particularly English is a living language.
Nostalgia was a form of melancholia.
Yes, I agree. And that is the issue, is if your nostalgia becomes melancholia, be aware this is a trap. So that's why I say more of revisit the old ways, but don't stay there too long. That's
Or
all.
like, and like, versus you can combine them as well to, in a healthy way. Like, we've heard and seen these people on news because they make great visuals and great articles of people who live in Christmas all year round. You know what? It's the part that makes them happy. And so as long as they can keep that concept in them, they can go face the rest of the world and handle it. As long as a little part of them always has a bit of Christmas to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a security blanket or a magic feather.
I mean, it's all right to like look forward to Christmas time every year. Or even the whole, I've known people who November and December and January is Christmas for them, but then there's July, that little taste before, in the middle of summer to then, kind of get ready for. But that, yes, you still need, every year you need to move through it to appreciate the rest of the seasons. And I say that as somebody who has a hard time appreciating summer in Mississippi. I appreciate the air conditioning. And I do appreciate the food. Summer food is delicious in Mississippi. I literally have a bucket of watermelon here by my side. Because Tom got Smith County watermelon, and there is nothing more delicious than Smith County watermelons. There is something special in the soil, y'all. So, yes, I love summer food. Fun says, y'all are the first group to address it with any form of critique. I think it's one of those, if it's a tool like anything else, how you use that tool. Are you using that hammer to hammer in nails? Or are you using that hammer to hammer people? One is good and useful, and the other is destructive and bad and also illegal.
All right, real quick, though, let me just give you an image for summer in Mississippi that is simultaneous. Like, this is some, straight out of ding 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 scary movie moments. And that's good thinking and planning of just watching this guy who is, he's full country, walking around a local business parking lot with a large hammer. And what is he doing as he's just walking around in front of these cars? He is going up to each of the those cement bumpers they put to keep people from driving too far forward that are always held in by two metal rebars. Well, in summer, the temperature changes start forcing the rebar back out. And if you don't handle it, eventually the rebar comes out and they'll just shove off. So he's just going around going, what?
That's how hot it gets here.
But you're watching this guy in his outdoor work shirt, AKA this thing has seen some seasons, with a large mallet just walking around this does not look good.
Yeah, just smacking that concrete block that usually painted yellow.
Yeah.
In the parking lot. See, they all rise up. And eventually they'll become untethered from their rebar and then start shoving around. And yes, we do get hurricane winds that will move them across a parking lot, which is real dangerous. I've known people who have actually gotten a broken ankle from one hitting them from a gust of wind as they were walking out of a parking lot. For reals, y'all. Mississippi is a wild place.
But that's just too hot when the rebar starts coming out.
Yeah. It is just too darn hot. So, yeah. So how about we have a little break and all our introverts can have a break from people's faces. And when we come back, what are we going to talk about, Tom? I assume now is a wonderful time to start actually preparing your playlist links.
I thought, I was going to go over, let's talk about mixtapes, playlist, and DJs.
Okay. Cool. Well, we will see y'all in a few minutes. In approximately 10 minutes, enjoy the farting corgi of my summer. Bibbidi beep. 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 Bibbidi beep.
Yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome back.
Welcome, welcome. I had such an exciting time trying to get my phone to post playlists to the chat.
I feel like one of the fun things we didn't talk about
Uh-huh.
that much in the last segment
Uh-huh.
was about how, because you touched on it a little bit, but it's important to realize that music can mean whatever it means to you. Because there are a lot of songs that have very specific meanings to me that have nothing to do with the lyrics. And or even who the artist is. It's just, I had a friend who really liked, like my experience of the Ramones, for example, is extremely different from a lot of people's experiences of the Ramones, because I don't, even though I know the words to the song, I never really hear a Ramones song when a Ramones song comes on, because my friend Jenny was the world's biggest Ramones fan. Like the world's biggest Ramones fan. So if I hear any song from them, all I think about is our trips through West Virginia, our various adventures here, there, and yonder. The Ramones for me is adventure music. No matter what the lyrics to the song are about, no matter which song it is, because every song reminds me of her. And you need to give yourself that permission. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is I've had some people try to explain to me that I couldn't use music in the way that I wanted to for my own personal enjoyment because I was neglecting the intent of the artist or blah, 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 blah. And no. Music is one of those great places where we get to assign meaning. And it is whatever it is to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can actually learn a lot about other people when you share what a song means to you and they share what it means to them. And you get to actually see a little bit of that person in that discussion.
I mean, hence the irony a few years ago of certain political groups using music from Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And there's, the singer-songwriter going, who do you think the machine is? It's you. You're literally... Y'all. But yes, you do get and there's definitely truly irrational reminders. Like we were talking about, triggering songs. I have no good explanation for it. But for whatever reason, that's the song, was it Three Little Birds? Is very triggering for me because for whatever reason, that was the first song my brain reached to when my mother passed away. Actually, when she was in the middle of passing away. Because she had a massive stroke. And for whatever reason, that's the song that started playing in my head. And so whenever I hear it, it still brings me back to that moment of, music is both time and personal. It is always very much a personal time machine. You can't as much get other people to go into a time place with you. The closest you can do is tell people about why you enjoy this music and then enjoy it at that time with them so they have that memory.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why we love sharing music.
Because there's no easier way to get me in the mood for an adventure than to start singing Petula Clark's Downtown. And that's because I had two friends that every time we were going into the city, they would put that song on and start singing it at the top of their lungs. Like we're going out clubbing. It's going to be a crazy, insane punk rock kind of a night with all the debauchery that goes with it, with a soundtrack by Petula Clark.
So when my sister and I went to England and Scotland, we had Fairy Tale by Alexander Rybak from Eurovision, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, like we had that on repeat in our car as we drove around the entire perimeter of Scotland.
So during the break, I saw Spence had posted what my current mixtape style playlist. Also, Heather stopped by. Hello, Heather. And so I was like, well, let me go on my personal account, which you will recognize. Oh, no, yeah, that's right. Very creatively named after myself. I was having trouble getting this. It was supposed to then show the plays, but here's the playlist link, the ambiance one that Kat talked about. It is enormous. This playlist will play for literally days.
A month or more.
It's a lot of music, and they are very long pieces. But I would like to encourage everybody. I did curate this ambiance playlist. If you are interested, peruse it, see if anything kind of looks interesting to you, or maybe useful to you in your writing, or when you just want a mood, or you need a nap. I don't know. There is a couple pieces that I played a lot when I had sepsis and was refusing to go to the hospital for a month. And was it all from what was it, that line, The Witch in the Wardrobe movie? Yes, it was. The snow falling all the time. What a mood. This playlist is one of the ones that I like to play when Tom and I are driving around in the car, and we're just literally driving around and we sing along. So it is a little bit unique to our family. I just want to remind everybody our parents were born in 1940 and 1946.
141 videos are on your playlist.
Yeah, and there's like 74 on car rides. There's enough for like an hour or two of car rides.
Why is Britney Spears' Hit Me Baby One More Time dance tutorial part of your ambiance playlist?
I don't know. That was probably just a mistake on my part.
It's number 134, just so you know.
I don't think it's supposed to be there. I have a different dancing playlist of like when I want to practice late 90s, early 2000s dance moves. Don't judge me.
I just was scrolling and I was like, wait a minute.
Now,
one of these things is not like the others.
CB did post her playlist. Here it is. If anybody else who doesn't have link posting permission, if they just want to tag me in somewhere and then tell me where it is, I will go grab it. But that is, sorry, that is not the one. This is CB's. Sorry. CB's playlist that is called Memories. And then I did also post my playlist of when I'm writing in a Wild West setting. This is a lot of music that I did a lot of research to find. So you don't have to. But either it's used a lot in Wild West or Western films, the genre, or it was originally composed by somebody and it was supposed to be as related to the West. Or if the U.S. Beef Council has ever used it, it's probably also in this Wild West playlist. Don't judge me. Why does somebody in my playlist have that? Anyway. And then another one of getting ready in the morning. Does anybody else have this problem when you wake up and you're just not feeling like moving? Like you're just, no, all of you wake up with energy? That's nice. I don't. And so this is a playlist of music that gets me like a little dopamine. Gets me moving.
Then let's see, we've got...
Oh, there, Megan. We're both clicking.
Sorry, you click. I'll just copy.
Here, Megan, would you like to say your bit?
So this is my playlist. It's pretty eclectic, so there's a little bit for everyone, or there should be. Just a warning, some of the songs are explicit, but they're all fun to listen to, in my opinion. So I hope you enjoy them as much as I have enjoyed them.
Very nice. Tom?
It says pretty much right there. Like, when I want to psych myself up, when I need to get ready to deal with the rest of the world, you know, especially if I don't necessarily have on my power undies and I can't really do the superhero poses, I can always listen to these songs and they get me ready to feel confident and go out.
Now I want to just disappear and go listen to some music
Yeah. Charlie?
and write some fanfic.
I put the link up for both the playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. I think we found out it's not available for Android, but if you have an iOS device, I have an app called SongShift that will sync your playlists between music apps. And since my Soundtrap account came with a free Spotify account,
That's cool.
why not? This is kind of my super nostalgia mix right now. I've been in a kind of a dark place, and I just wanted like a fun, rebellious rock station, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find a good rock playlist that I liked because they were all very genre specific, and this is everything from like 70s songs through the 80s with some really horrible hair metal that I absolutely love, all the way through to some Ghost, of course, because I am me. I even spent some time making a cover for this playlist, which I am totally fine with because I got obsessed with it and had to make it. It had to be a thing.
By the way, Charlie, it looks like your Apple Music link didn't go through because it says Spotify.
Oh, crap.
I just wanted you to know in case, give you a moment to find that and repost.
Yeah, it looks like the exact same link, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I wasn't sure if that's how Apple
There you
Music is
go.
not doing it.
Nope, there we go.
Oh, also, if you end up listening to the playlist and you like something, tell me so that I know what kind of music people like so I can, hone my skills of picking good music for people to listen to.
Well, see, I think that's important, but I know Tom wanted to talk about DJs. And I think the thing that makes a DJ great, because I think you're talking about our show that we're going to be doing.
Yes, vaguely.
The thing that to me makes DJs great is when they share from their own heart. Like one of the things that's really hurt my productivity lately is I used to start every day listening to Julie Adenuga and her wonderful show from London because it would play really early in London, UK time, and so it would just be there when I got up. And it was so much fun, garage and grime music and just a lot of Afrobeat, and it was a great way to wake up and get into my day. And it was all music that you could tell her love for it. Like just when she would interview the artist, she would just like melt into like, okay, the specific moment in this song, why did that happen? Like she would go at them for like, this line in the song, I don't understand, why did you say it? Why are these words together? Like she was listening. You could tell she was listening to the music, not just the robot that was there playing it. Mm-hmm. And when she would do her flashback Thursdays or the Tuesday episodes, which I absolutely loved, where she would open it up to Twitter and you would just say what you're doing in that day, and she would pick a song for you to help you do that thing. And those were always hilarious because people would put up the most ridiculous, well, I have to do this today, just to see what Julie would pick as the theme song for them to do that thing to. And just that joy that she had, even when it was music that I'm not a big fan of, mm-hmm. I still listen to it out of respect of like, I want to know why she loves this and how can this help me appreciate music more. Mm-hmm. And that to me is the power of a good DJ.
Yes.
Is that really
curation.
Yeah. And that really heartfelt moment where you feel that connection with them. Like, yeah, I can see why you really love this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that is part of what I want to talk about. The other part that I want to talk about.
We haven't quite finished the playlist.
Oh.
Was Laura.
So I wrote a reverse cannibal story that I started writing. I only got like 20K into it so far.
Why won't anyone eat me?
So this
I am so tender.
yes, he's more sinewy actually, but yeah. So he has a soft spot for the classical and the opera.
Ah, very nice.
So this is more of the kind of music that he would listen to as he's in his bunker. So yeah,
Okay. And then
his zombie dog. This one is for my dark fantasy romance, Bonds of Blood and Dreams. So it's more of a dark romantic music, I guess.
mhm.
My alternative music playlist, there's 65 songs on there, and I've compiled it over a while, and I love it.
Very nice. I just didn't want us to get too far away of like we still have Laura's to like.
Good point. Yeah, I lost track.
And Sherry asks, speaking of, do you guys also listen to cartoon theme songs or just me?
Mostly anime.
I was gonna say, like,
I've turned on the Sims music playlist.
I listen to American cartoon theme songs more for nostalgia. But I listen
I don't
to
know,
anime.
like Star Butterfly's theme, and
That's not a
also-
theme song.
No,
What do you
her
call it?
actual theme. Remember, I used to have that as an alarm when I
Oh, yeah.
would get up and like go to my terrible toxic job.
I have an unstable playlist that is just a whole bunch of like, well, the entire Transformers the movie soundtrack, which is amazing. If anybody has anything to say about it, I'll just put on Death of Optimus Prime on repeat and like tell me it doesn't make me cry. As well as a bunch of like Cybertronic Spree tracks and stuff that are both their cover of the album, because when they decided to put out a full-length album, they were like, we will be stoned to death if our first album isn't a song-for-song cover of the Transformers soundtrack. But yeah, all the Steven Universe music, like all the Steven Universe music, so good.
Over
she
the garden
still has
wall.
it on her alarms.
Over the garden wall.
I have so many as my alarm songs. The cartoon stuff. Yeah.
And don't even get me started on I'm having a very dysphoric day, and just want to feel like a pretty princess and put on a Disney playlist and just scream the lyrics to my heart's content. Like,
You'll have
there's
no
a
idea
reason
how
my
often I
neighbors
hear,
think I'm a demonic witch.
I want to turn you into a giant woman
Yeah.
every week.
Tom has to hear this. All I want to do is help you turn into a giant woman. A giant woman. Like, really, Glory? But yes.
Oh, let me drive my van into your heart. Maybe my favorite Steven Universe song of all time. Just because Greg Universe is the greatest character ever put on TV. Failed, washed up musician who loves his son with so much sincerity. Oh, yes. We need all of the good fathers. And yeah, his rock album that won him the heart of Rose Quartz is just, it's so blissfully, amazingly terrible.
So the Over the Garden Wall soundtrack is more of like, I guess it's the 40s, like Betty Boop era.
I would say 30s, or maybe it is the 40s. Maybe.
The old black and white rubber hose arms animation era of animation. Like, it has music just so reminiscent of that era. But the imagery of the show is New England postcard of just fall colors, and it's gorgeous. And just that soundtrack, just so good. It's so good. And there's a singing frog, and his voice just makes your heart melt. Not that I've been listening to it for the last 3 days.
No, not at all.
No.
All right, so the reason I actually wanted to talk about DJs was actually more about with mixtapes and playlists, and like why we are seeing cassettes now making a nostalgic comeback. And part of it is that the cassettes let you make a true mixtape, which is not the same as a playlist. Because a mixtape really gives you the effect of a DJ, because a good DJ will switch songs to keep a mood or vibe or feeling going for a prolonged time. And that is how they switch songs, is to keep you in this same area, the same headspace.
Yeah.
And
Like it used to be with like mixtapes, is there would be an emotional arc. A story would unfold, but it was like emotionally speaking. You would start maybe high and go low and then come back, or vice versa. You would start low and like go to this frenetic level and then, you know, be landed by the end of the mixtape or anything like that. Like that was the whole point, was you were going on a journey.
and
An
you would
emotional
sometimes choose to just have smaller sections of a song, not the full-length song in there for that part of the mood. And that's the difficulty with playlists, is that you can get the order of songs, but it's hard to get that timing. And that's really actually what makes a good DJ. And where a lot of people are like, started over a decade ago going, I'll just put my iPod on. It's the same thing as a DJ. And it was because a lot of people thinking they were DJs were not actually DJs. They did not have that curated music knowledge of, here's the emotions this song deals with. How well will it flow into the next song? And versus a good DJ, you will, notice that these songs go very well, which is why, like, I was kind of laughing a few days ago as I was listening on the playlist, Glory had made, in particular the one we made, when times were rough and Glory was going through a divorce, called Awesome Puppies Will Follow. But if you follow this playlist, you will see it's a journey. It's a journey, and it's very much a playlist form of, like, Aretha Franklin singing "I Will Survive." It starts out talking about the difficulties of the now, and it goes on to the aspirational future.
It does start that way. Like, it does start with Little Goodbyes by Shebang.
Shudaisy,
yeah. Little Goodbyes.
Shebangs, I think, is a cover band for Ricky Martin.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And then the next song is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness. And then after that is So What by Pink. So, like, are you getting this? It's like we start low and we're going to keep going. And it is, the title is not FU. It is the actual, produced by the Sneezingtons. We must have gotten that.
CeeLo Green.
Yeah, and then Mr. Blue Sky. And then Ain't No Rest for the Wicked by Cage the Elephant. Let It Be. This would be the Across the Universe version. Gay Bar by Electric Six. Hook from Blues Traveler. Respect by Aretha Franklin. Danger High Voltage from Electric Six. Don't Trust Me from 303. All Over the World from
ELO.
No, it's not ELO, is it? No, you're right. It probably is ELO. Ben, yeah, that's the one of like, no, it's an NWA cover, y'all. Your Touch. Dog Days Are Over from Florence and the Machine. It's Tricky. And so on. And then, goes all the way to ending with songs like Xanadu, Jumpin' Jack Flash, All You Need Is Love, and Dude Looks Like a Lady. That's a celebration song to me.
I think that's one of the reasons why I have such a hard time putting together playlists compared to my younger friends, because I used to do mixtapes all the time. So I'm always obsessing over not only how do the songs flow into each other as far as the sound goes, but how is the narrative, how is the vibe, conveying something as well. Like if you look at the rather silly playlist that I just shared, it's a story. Like if you're familiar with with those songs, it is a sort. It's kind of a sad story, but it is a story that takes you through all of the emotions until you get to the end. And, you know, I can't just throw music together. And I think it's because I came out of that place where I was making the mixtapes as a kid. And I remember, like, the hardest I ever worked in middle school, my sister was dating a DJ and somehow tricked him into letting me and my friend take over the radio station for 3 hours, which he did not get fired for. So presumably he got permission for it. I don't know. But he let us take over the local radio station for 3 hours.
That's
And
awesome.
we worked so hard on figuring out what songs we were going to play and put in what order, and scripting the jokes and the skits for between the songs, and like what is going to be the full arc of this like epic moment, probably the only moment we'll ever be on the radio. You know? It was,
Which, I mean, back then, 3/4 of your town would be listening to.
yep. And I mean, we worked, that's the hardest I've probably worked all the way through till after I graduated high school. I mean, that was the most work I put into anything.
But
Yeah,
like a good
like-
playlist is a journey. It communicates
be.
with the back of your brain.
It takes you to like an emotional scape, an emotional landscape. And somebody, artfully crafted this. They want to take you somewhere emotionally, and you don't have to be in the same room to feel that feeling. They're going to take you there. That is what I loved about mixtapes, and about, then I would make mixtapes on CDs as well, which again, they're burned in, yo. You can't even redo them like you can on cassette. And yes?
I think that's part of why I'm really bad, like, at making playlists, because I'm like, but it doesn't flow. Like, these don't really go. Like, I'll start making a playlist, and then I'll just get frustrated with it, because I'm like, it's not right. So then I'll just stop. So I have, like, partial playlists that I'm not really making playlists. I'm apparently attempting to make mixtapes, and I'm just like, I just don't... And then I give up.
Because a lot of my friends' playlists, that when they send them to me, are just, here are a collection of songs that I have put together. It's kind of like, now that's what I call music, but from a particular person. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that there's a difference there.
Yeah.
There's no intentionality. Like, the songs are in a random order. They are just random, and there's a place for that. Like, I have a playlist that I call the rotation, that every time I hear a song that I like and I want to hear more, I throw it on there. And that's the playlist that I just hit shuffle on days where I just want music.
And like, that's why I recently, because this show kind of made me realize as I was working on it that I'm getting older. And it's not necessarily that my memory's going. It's just, I've now heard so many songs. It does become difficult to remember all the songs you like that are good. So I've literally just now have a Dropbox in my YouTube playlist of songs in need of a playlist. So I won't forget when I come across, like, this is a good song. I like this. This is fun. But what does it go with?
Yeah, I have one called Mood's Dumping Ground, and if I don't know where the song goes, it goes in the dumping ground till I know which playlist it goes to.
That's what I use my like songs for. Everything that doesn't go in a playlist goes in the like songs.
I have over 21,000 songs in my Apple Music library.
I have no idea how many songs I have, but
I just scrolled over, clicked to sort by song, and it tells me at the bottom.
Well, if we're going to be sharing our bona fides,
oh, no, it's not about bona fides. It's like, I get this.
Yes, I can relate, my darling. I have so many CDs. Tom likes bringing out my literal book binders of CDs and just show people these are
Like
the music
3
ones.
Binders that
And
are
these
just
are her
music.
DVDs, but these are the CDs. And they're like, how could anyone have this much music? And it's like,
I used to have a whole box of CDs, and I would just like pull one out and listen to that and replace it with another CD, and it still didn't fit all my CDs.
Yeah.
It used to drive my mother nuts.
The day I drove everyone nuts is when I got my 5-disc changer, because
Yeah.
I was limited to 5 discs, but it was programmable, and I would sit there for like an hour programming. You're going to play this track and on this disc, and then this track on this disc, and then this track on this disc, and I would program out the whole thing. They're like, you just hit play. I'm getting there. Yeah. If you wondered who did that stuff, it was me.
But I mean, but it does, as we've all experienced, a good playlist where you don't have to think about it. It just goes from song to song. Takes you on a journey. It is a way to communicate with that part of your brain that is hard to talk to. The one that's just feelings. I mean, if you've ever thought about taking anti-anxiety drugs, you've definitely wanted to talk to the back of your brain. And music is one of the few ways we found that does actually work.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you have to think about which song you want to play next, you don't get that same relaxation.
Imported anime soundtracks.
No. Everett says I did that stuff too, Charlie. Yeah, like I
Next
like
to my 3 days grace.
I like that playlists, particularly if they don't hit shuffle. That's one of my issues with Spotify. Is don't you have to have like 50 songs in a playlist for it not to then add other songs and then shuffle them?
No. Wait, maybe?
It
I
depends
don't
on
know.
if you have a paid account or not.
If you have the free account,
I have no
you
idea.
got to have like 50 or 65 songs in there in order for it not to add stuff, because Spotify has bad opinions, y'all. The things
yeah.
it adds in
Don't go with
has
it.
nothing to do with the soundtrack vibe that I was making. So that is why I moved from Spotify to YouTube for my playlists. Cherry says, yes, Laura.
I just found my old sketchbook.
Fantastic.
Random question, Laura, did you get your hair done again?
No.
Or has it just faded?
I got it done October 1st, so this is still from October last year.
Okay, maybe it was the light. I was like,
I think it's the light.
Yeah, the
Right.
light is occasionally making it very purple.
But yeah, to give you an idea of like what kind of music Gloria and I have accumulated over time through very different means, including a lot of, house recordings of bands and other stuff.
The house recordings. Oh my God.
In MP3 form, we have over 200 gigs of MP3s where each file is maybe, 4 to 6 megabytes each.
Am I a nerd? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, there's your nerd cred, babe. Yeah, like, because we told y'all about when we were staying at the Hope House when Mom, with her last cancer, there was a sound engineer who had never smoked a day in his life, but he had throat cancer. So he couldn't really talk a lot, but he had worked for everybody. If they did live open air concerts, he was one of those main people you hired, apparently. So he worked for everyone from Hall & Oates to the Grateful Dead.
Allman Brothers, Doobie Brothers.
He just hung out with them as well. We go to their house and hang out and then do recordings. And he gifted us as part of here you go with what?
I just found the first album I ever bought.
12 gigs of MP3s of his live recording.
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
The first CD I ever owned was a gift to me, and it was Britney Spears from my mother. And the first one I bought was this.
The first
with
CD we ever owed,
Star
Tom
Wars.
got from, what was it, BMI? BMG? Remember those?
BMG music.
Yeah. And there was Hook. It was like a five.
Yeah, it was 5 different ones, like Blues
And
Traveler.
Blues Traveler's Hook. I remember because that was the one we played incessantly. Like, it was terrible.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie, oh my God. Yeah.
So the first CD I ever bought was Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again. I was like, how old was I? I was like 7 or something like that.
Making
The first one was
it hard here, Megan. Shut up.
Sorry.
That just brings back my own trauma of the first time I ever heard who was it, Travis Tritt or someone, the one who did I Like It, I Love It.
I like it.
Was my little sister singing it the way she had learned it on the bus, which was as heavily innuendoed as possible. And I'm just like, what are you singing? And please don't ever sing that again to me.
Yeah, she was 6 or 7. She was
I
finally
also-
able to ride the bus alone.
I also have these discs from when I was a missionary, and it was my mission companion's brother and his group of friends. They were all Samoan. And so it's Polynesian church hymns
Nice.
and Polynesian church jams. So we got the hymns and the jams.
There's something that
I
would never
used
feel
to
right
have
about the word
the
church jam.
I used to have the CDs from when I used to do the church productions, like the musicals, and one of them was like Captain Noah and the Zoo Cruise for Twos, and I still think you can find that on the internet somewhere. It is like the music is fantastic, but very interesting.
Versus, should I tell them, Glory, about your playlist for when the church puts you in charge of music? You know, you may have been sassy and, you know, dealing with your own thing at the time as well.
Let me
What's
pull
the
up
song
because Tom handed me my old iPod.
What is the song it started with, if I remember right?
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
No, it's actually Bach,
lure
toccata
them
and
in.
fugue in D minor.
Yeah, that's the one to relax them before Cage the Elephant starts.
And then it's Ain't No Rest for the Wicked, and then Down to the River to Pray. It's mostly just the entire Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack after that, to be perfectly honest.
I love that soundtrack.
That sounds
Yes,
amazing.
it's a good soundtrack. You know, so it's I'll Fly Away, which I already knew all the words to that one. I used to sing that song in a weird way when I was young because I liked how it irritated adults.
But I always loved watching everyone's faces as Cage the Elephant starts playing.
Yes, of like, how dare you put me in charge of this? You think that I'm just this nice girl who just ended up being married to a lousy man. No. At a certain point, we originally deserved each other. It's just...
I wish this computer had a disk drive in it so I could like CDs
Yes,
in it again.
playing your CDs.
No, I'm gonna have to use my Blu-ray player.
So the local meditation,
Reminisce.
the local meditation group that I'm in decided that they needed music, and hey Charlie, you like all the music, why don't you do this? I was like, you really don't want this to happen. My taste is very eclectic, and if you want like the songs I listen to for spiritual uplift, they will hurt you. And they're like, how will they hurt you? And I just put on like one of my go-to songs, which is Inshallah by Heather Alexander. If you've ever thought that this wonderful Sufi hymn was lacking all of the Celtic magic that it should have had initially, this is the song for you, because it's her Celtic violin and her wonderful Irish voice singing in Arabic.
Very nice.
And I watched as their eyes started twitching, and they're like, okay, you're right, we'll have somebody else do the music.
Oh God! Like, look, I understand this is a beautiful song. It was a great song when it came out in the late '90s, but I had to hear it on literal repeat for over 12 hours while I was trying to sleep.
Not me.
And-
I did not. I'm not the one who did it this time.
No. I was at a religious institute at the time, and the other youth had woken up early to start practicing because TikTok is nothing new. Everyone needs to learn some choreography to a song.
Especially the Philippines. Like, seriously, y'all.
And
Filipinos.
it just played for 12 hours straight.
This is how they cope.
One
is they
song.
dance. Yeah, just playing it on repeat to like practice their choreography.
I got a 30-minute, respite when the batteries died.
And then they had to find new batteries.
Yeah, that's how long it took him to go buy some new ones.
Usually nowadays it's like trying to learn a K-pop routine.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Filipinos have been doing this for
Since the
decades.
beginning of time. It is how they cope. Because it is a coping mechanism. Even to play music obsessively. Because like Tom may not live in the Philippines anymore, but every once in a while I pull that crap on him. Why, yes, somebody has made an 11-hour YouTube video of Hosers Take Me to Church. And I may have played it on my TV and went to sleep for 8 hours while it was still playing, and Tom had to hear it. Because you might tell me you have ADHD without telling me you have ADHD.
The one that I like
I bet if the music
is
paused, you would have woke up.
I fall asleep to the sound of the ocean. I have the ocean playlist that I listen to, and it's all wave noises. And it's fantastic. Puts me right to sleep. Doesn't help when I'm at the beach, though, because it's like trained me to fall asleep at the sound of the waves. And like I get there and I'm like, I could just fall asleep right here and get the worst sunburn ever.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever have a song that you want to hear infinitely, did it not go through?
I don't. If you post something, I didn't.
There it is.
There it goes.
There it goes. Okay. There's this wonderful web app called the Internal Jukebox. It used to be called the Infinite Jukebox, and it now connects to Spotify. So you connect it to your Spotify, you pick a song, it analyzes the song and finds the places where the song repeats itself and uses those as opportunities to jump to another part of the song. So it is a constantly remixing version of the song that you're listening to that will never end.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
And their algorithm is really fun, and it just randomly skips and jumps and hops around, and it is just that one song forever. It's really funny to do this with story songs because the story will be all out of order and inside out, and that can make for some really fun storytelling.
Now I need to look for a song to try this with real quick.
so the song that I really like is Rosalind by Bon Iver with rain and thunder for 1 hour. It's a good video. There's animated rain going down the window.
Yeah, that's important, but
I feel like everybody just got quiet because they're like playing with Eternal Jukebox now.
Where I was looking for songs, and then I found something for Cherry that I think Cherry will really get a kick out of. And it's what is it called? Cartoons and Vodka by Jinx Monsoon. And
Oh, Jinx.
every
No,
5 seconds or 10 seconds is another cartoon from the 90s and 2000s intro being riffed on for this music video.
I have a cat accidentally named after Jinx Monsoon because we hadn't decided what we were going to call her, and we got her the year that Jinx was on RuPaul's Drag Race and did something that just like drove me crazy, and I went, oh, Jinx! And the cat ran up to me and went, meow. And I was like, is your name Jinx? She looked up at me and went, meow. And I was like, okay, I guess your name is Jinx.
Yep. She liked it. Yep. Have fun, Cherry. Hope it's everything you were looking for. How
It is
about
after a break.
we do another break? Give our introverts a little off time from the peopling. And when we come back, what will we do, Tom? What's next?
I think it's just time to share our favorite songs you may not have heard of.
Yeah, it might not necessarily be in a playlist, but you could honestly type the name of it in the chat, or whatever. Because Tom is actually copying and pasting these into our little Telegram group. We will be posting all the links later and everything. If we have to, we'll do it in multiple comments so that everybody watching later has ease of access to them. So think about like songs maybe you've come across recently that you're like, nobody knows about this. I need everybody to know. And
I put all those in my playlist.
yes. And we will continue to talk about them because there certainly have been a couple artists that I've found this year that are freaking amazing. So how about we have a little breaky break and we will see y'all back here. Moon. Mud, mud, glorious mud. Nothing's quite like it for soothing the blood. So follow me, follow, down to the hollow, and there shall we wallow in glorious mud. Yes. Thank you. So how did everybody's little sprinty sprint go?
I have finished one of the 5 suits in the Oracle deck I'm working.
Ooh,
Nice.
Ooh,
very nice.
awesome. I got some little tiny bell peppers and I smothered them in blue cheese dressing and I ate them and it was delicious.
Lovely. Very nice.
I drank water and found
Woo!
songs.
Woohoo!
Yes, I posted a bunch of the songs I found in the last year or so, or just like, hey, I still feel like this artist is not getting enough attention. Before we go much further, though, I want to go ahead and Megan, would you like to say something about your playlist?
So my grandmother was this cute little Italian woman born in like 1919 or 1918, one of those two. And she was really tiny, about the same height as me, just really tiny and very Italian. And so every time I miss her, I play this playlist, which has a lot of the music that she would listen to, that we would listen to together when I'd spend time with her at her place. And so that is this playlist.
Right.
If anyone is interested in reminiscing about an Italian grandmother they may or may not have.
Hey, it's still fun, right?
Yeah.
It may be useful for some characters.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Let's see. Maggie also posted a playlist for the Revelation Night series. So that is here as well. And then I posted, it's a playlist I made for the rom-com I was working on like 2 NaNoWriMos ago. Was it that long? Was it just one? It doesn't matter. You know what? And especially the first several songs, each scene had its own song, so they are in order. And actually, I ended up listing most of these songs in each scene, like as there would be a mention of it playing in the background if it was like at a party or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the rest of it is just still like sort of my rom-com mood dump. The whole rest of the playlist. But if you maybe are looking for rom-com music ideas, I like this playlist. I made it. And then Tom.
That was that one for Cherry. That's the
This
the
is
cartoon.
a playlist. This is a playlist link. This is not, is it?
No, if you look at the end, you'll see with index number, and that means
Okay.
it's just going directly to that song.
Oh, okay. Just an incredibly long link. Anyway. Alrighty.
I'm copying this down. I'll post a playlist at the end. I'm just going to add this to my playlist of songs in need of a playlist. I'll post it up at the end, and I'll add these in.
All right. So, like, Laura posted this one. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. She said it's stunning. Something Scandinavian is what it looks like to me. Meh.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, this one too.
That one is actually a made-up language that the Who made for Jedi Fallen Order,
Oh,
and made a song in that language.
That song is amazing.
is it?
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
it's hard
good.
not to enjoy anything by Who.
I was
With the
really
Newark,
surprised when the boyfriend told me that's where he had discovered the Who, because I had heard about them ages before that from like NPR playing them on the radio station. I'm like, oh, this is really unusual kind of for NPR, but this is great music.
Yeah,
so.
I think like YouTube recommended them to me a couple years ago. I listened to them for Tiny Desk concert. They have a really wild Tiny Desk concert, if I'm remembering.
Yes, yes, they do.
Somebody
It
sent
is
me.
wild, y'all. You should definitely check it out.
Somebody sent me a link to. They were on. I don't know what it's called. It was like China's version of American Idol a long time ago, and a friend of mine sent me this link. It was like, if you don't love this, I don't know who you are. That's all it said. And I was like, that sounds like a threat. And I put it on. I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. Like, this is everything that I love in music in one band. Yes. Okay. I get it now.
I posted Megan knows because I've already like made her listen, but Zolita's song "Somebody I F'd Once" is fun, upbeat, got a little bit of an edge. Good times, y'all. Bisexual Anthem by Jomo Wilson, and yes, this is my sentiment. Where was this when I was young? This is fantastic. You do not need to be bisexual to enjoy this song, by the way. What? I saw your face, Tom.
It's actually sort of more of it's that one, and then one Megan posted on later, because I'll never forget the comment someone made, because it's like, I haven't heard this, and because their comment is, I think it might have been on that song of like, this is a song we need. Why is the bisexual song, though everyone knows, is Sweater Weather by Neighborhood?
But
and then
again,
Megan posted it a little bit later. I was like, Yep, I know this crowd.
But again, like, check it out, even if you're not in that under the bisexual umbrella. Give it a listen. It's just a fun song. Would you say, Megan?
Yes. I almost started singing the lyrics, and then I realized what the lyrics were, and I'm like, oh, not gonna say that out loud.
Yes, it is explicit, or at least almost explicit.
It's somewhat explicit.
And then Kiki Rockwell, Same Old Energy. It's not Same Old Energy. That's maybe it's me. The music video is fantastic. The costumes are surprisingly historically accurate because Kiki Rockwell is apparently a costumer by day. So she actually got historically accurate costumes for this music video. But I love how she has everybody wear their costumes. They do not wear them like costumes. They wear them like clothes. They do not wear them like they're in a historical drama. They wear them like they're just off to go do all sorts of, questionable behavior in the woods. It's fantastic. I love it. So wanted to just share that. CB says, this isn't really an unknown song, but Thunderstruck by AC/DC, always a classic. Laura, anything? Again, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Tom, you're posting music that I have in my my playlist. Like Bleached, Hard to Kill.
Is it High Lung? I
think it's High Lung.
High Lung, ancient and awesome. Love their Lifa concert.
Yeah, they performed it at a castle, but it's like they are performing with bones, and they are wearing antlers, and like everything is prehistoric. Like most of the language that they sing in is like ancient text scraps. So it's so cool.
That does sound cool. Tom Cherry says, I'm grateful. That was fantastic. Let's see. Jen Foster. The song is called I Didn't Just Kiss Her. And I like it because it's like a reply to Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl. It's fun and it is a bit naughty. It's fantastic. CB says there's also Rise Today and Metalingus by Alter Bridge. And then, yes, Megan. Sweater Weather.
Yes, it always reminds me of driving around Southern California with my Suburban's air conditioner broken, so I had to have all the windows down. But I would travel around like the Pasadena area, the downtown LA area, and just have a blast, doing my own thing. And that's really what the song always reminds me of.
Yeah, it does really sound like Southern California. Like in a
It
vibe.
does. Like it's got that vibe.
Yeah, I remember when it came up on a playlist, like YouTube will make playlists. And
Mhm.
Tom and I were just sort of going through going, what is this? What is this? And Sweater Weather came up and we were like, what is this music video? And what is this vibe? Because we just it just was kind of surprising. But we enjoyed watching it. Ryan Amador Spectrum. This is such a fun and wholesome song, and the music video is really adorable too. While this is not a new discovery for me, Rory's song Devil's Whisper. If you've never watched this music video, I highly recommend. It builds tension so well, and it has such a kind of addictive hook in it, both music-wise as well as visually. Truly, it is like a short story in a music video. And then again, another one that's not new to me, but I'm going to bring it up anyway because nobody talks about it, is the band is called Murder by Death. The song is Brother. It is a ballad. It is fast-paced. And trust me when I tell you, you think it's going to go one way at the beginning, and in fact, it has wholesome twists and turns. I used to use it in my workout playlist as one of my opening first 5 to 10 minutes of kind of warming up in my workouts. And Murder by Death was usually the second song in there. So this is how I started getting my blood pumping. Laura Invincible by Jesse Abbey.
I think so. It's a alternative. So
Did you want to say anything else? Are you good?
it's awesome.
Cherry says Dr. Humpty Brownstone is a song that reminds me of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but I have no idea why. Curious to explore that. And Cherry also says Coin Seller by Nell is my favorite instrumental ever. I am not sure I've ever heard of that. Megan Up by Cardi B.
Yes.
I think everything by Cardi B is a banger, though.
It's true, but this one in particular has been my jam for this summer.
Very cool. Cherry says 4 Times Around the Sun by Nell. Actually, just listen to Nell in general. Tre Vete Tete. I don't want to ruin that. I know I have butchered that. By Kale 13. If you want some reggaeton, very cool. Can't wait to check that out. Tom?
Which one?
Bleached, Hard to Kill is fun.
I mean,
It is an amazing song.
Such a good song.
it is just always fun. It's definitely when you want to get yourself psyched up, it's a nice empowering song.
This song is in my playlist that I posted.
Like it is
Yeah.
amazing how Megan and Tom have such similar like, overlap in music.
Mhm.
And you know, when they both say they were emo kids, it's like, oh yeah, that checks out. Cherry says Bring Me Close by Mindy Gledhill. She makes very cute nostalgic songs, upbeat. Very cool. Tom says Radkey Dark Black Makeup. Awesome young group and cool song.
So I also have Radkey on my playlist. And I chose a different song than Dark Black Makeup because I wanted to introduce people to something they may not have heard before. So I chose one of their newer songs that was actually done for like an advertisement for one of the shoe companies. I can't remember who, like Vans maybe?
Okay.
No, it was I can't remember who. But anyways,
cool,
it's
yeah.
a great song.
Cherry says No by Shakira, If You Want to Feel Pain. I'm really not sure where this is going, but okay. I'm not sure I'm familiar with this song, so I don't know in what way is it pain, but okay. I will check it out. Cherry also says Black Bear and Pieces by Andrew Bell. Tom says Little Big, Generation Cancellation, a great protest song that made them leave Russia for the U.S. So they left Russia for the U.S. before or after the song, Tom?
Right about the same time because they knew it was going to happen.
Oh, when the song came out,
Because
they're like,
all their other friends in the music industry were having to leave or were suddenly coming up under because you can't say anything there without being arrested. That's not part of the propaganda at this point.
Good point. And then Cherry says, not unknown, but let me remind everyone of Island in the Sun by Weezer. Always a classic. I actually had that song recently come up. Yeah. Spence says, for me, it's Anything But Take Me to Church by Hoser. LOL, it's the only song people talk about, and it feels like y'all are sleeping on so much.
Yeah, like Hoser and Imagine Dragons are two, both release a lot of great music that mostly they just get known for one song.
Yeah. Cherry says, if you've not watched Yuri on Ice, then at least listen to History Maker.
It's the opening theme song for the credits. It's my jam. It's so good. The whole
Charlie?
Okay, so if you heard the Weeknd song Blinding Lights and you're like, this reminds me of an 80s song, but want to know what it would have actually sounded like as an 80s song, Augur made the goth dark wave remake of the song that returns it to the Sisters of Mercy roots that the song originally had. It is so hard for me to hear the original now because it's like the lyrics, the way the music is laid out, like, yeah, you should have been playing in the background to like the Lost Boys or something. It's such a good cover.
I will definitely have to check that out. Cherry says Halo Suite. I guess that is something
From the game
Cocoon? Maybe. Megan?
So when I work out, I really like to get my blood pumping with Equal Rights, Equal Lefts by OTEP. It's the perfect song for running because it has like the right beat for like really running, like, when you're giving it your all. And I like to see like how much of the song I can like sprint for, basically.
Nice.
And so that's the perfect song for it, in my opinion, because it really gets you like angry and like rawr.
Very nice. Yeah, that's cool. Laura, Cherry says it may or may not have squealed. I believe
so. What I shared is a mashup duet of History Maker.
Oh.
Because it's in English, and there's a guy who's really good at singing. His name's Caleb, and so he sang it as well. So somebody spliced them together, so it's the two main leads duetting, and it's so cool.
Very cool. That sounds really cool to check out.
It's so good.
Charlie?
Okay, so I'm a fan of like classic country, but a lot of the modern country I'm not a big fan of. Delta Ray kind of does a bluesy country, old school country hybrid. Hitch a Ride is a song that is kind of like listening to the Doors if they were country, where I'm not sure if it's a song about a bunch of bandits that are out to take people down, if it's a bunch of lost souls trying to get a ticket out of hell, or if it's just about people going out for a good time, like the way a good song should be in its ambiguity. It is so much fun to listen to. It is a beautifully done track, and I can't say that about a lot of country music lately, and I'm happy to be able to say that about that one.
Very cool. Well, that is Hitch a Ride by Delta Ray. Tom, Lawrence, Don't Lose Sight. Did you want to say anything else further? Fun band with
Mostly, I just thought it was it's just one of their better songs. Like, I like them just because they sound good and they're fun. They're a New York brother-sister duo band.
Mm-hmm.
And then also later on I posted another of the songs because sometimes we all have a little bit of Weird Al.
Yes.
We're looking for a replacement, and they have one called the Heartburn Song.
Yes. Yes, Tom has sent that to me before. CB says Fake It and Remedy by Seether, and says blame WWE for my choices. So now we know. Cherry says You Ain't Woman Enough, the Paramore cover. I can't remember if I've actually heard that, but I know I've heard people mention it. So maybe I think I definitely will take that as the impetus to actually go listen again. Charlie, Change Up album by Joan Jett.
So Joan Jett released a new album this year that is all of her like classic tracks, but done acoustically. It's just Joan and a guitar. And as her voice has matured and as her relationship with the songs has matured, and also just having to change the setting so that you don't have all of the loud, distorted guitar and everything, they're different in such a refreshing and beautiful way. I mean, there are songs that you expect to sound good, like Crimson and Clover, which is kind of a slow song already, but Little Liars and, I Love Rock and Roll, but done acoustically, just sounds very nostalgic and just wistful of like, yeah, I remember rock and roll. I loved it. It was nice. It's a beautiful, beautiful album. And if you've not checked it out, definitely do it. It's
Very nice.
Some of the best Joan Jett in a long time.
I haven't heard about it, so I will definitely have to check that out. Cherry says Wretches and Kings by Linkin Park, but it has to have the speech in it. Very nice, of course. Wasted by Tiesto. I'd probably have ruined that. Much apologies. And Charlie, Cthulhu by MC Lars and Project Born.
So have you ever wanted...
Thanks for bringing in the cosmic horror.
Have you ever wanted like some cosmic horror gangster rap, but if it was done by Will Smith?
It didn't occur to me that I needed that, but now that you mention it, you're not wrong. That
I don't know how else to describe this song. It is.
It's a great pitch. It's a great pitch, ma'am.
The summoning of Cthulhu, all of the darkness that's coming into the world. Two nerdcore rappers that I really enjoy, but like, it goes so hard it's silly. Like it on purpose. Like tongue.
Yeah, you're not
firmly
talking
planted in cheek.
This is not.
It's so good.
I have to admit, it's not talking me out of it.
So good. It's so good.
Not that any of this is like, it needs my approval. I'm just like, I'm making commentary, to keep it going. I'm thinking the thoughts. Why not say them? Tom Lawrence, the Heartburn song, just Weird Al, just good times, y'all. Just Jewish siblings getting up to silliness. I approve. Cherry says Bees Left the Trees by Sugar and the High-Lows. You've already talked me into it. Cherry also says La Sin Gravidad by Belinda. I've never heard this, but I will definitely have to check it out. And also Pan y Mantequilla, Bread and Butter by Efecto Pasillo. I've probably ruined that and I apologize. But I look forward to it because I definitely don't get enough songs in other languages and I love international music. Charlie, anything as in all the songs by Plan Left?
So Plan Left is kind of in a YouTube novelty band. Their shtick is, but what if Typo Negative did it?
Okay.
Right there. You're right, that's novelty.
And well, they do some other things too. They basically reharmonize music in other forms. They have done so many songs. They're like, what if Typo Negative did Cry Little Sister made me laugh so hard I thought I was going to pass out from lack of breathing. They just released a version of Rooster by Alice in Chains that is so ridiculously gothy that it just, like, if you're not careful, you will suddenly find yourself wearing a bat cape for no reason. Like, why do I have eyeliner on now? I did not put this on. Why is it here? They are silly. They are fun. Their lead singer's got a really good voice, and the music works. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't at all for any of their, like, half the songs that they've done. They really shouldn't work, but somehow they get there. Okay. Plus, they also have some original music that's really good too. I think the easiest way in is just look through their catalog, find a song that you go, oh, that sounds like the name of a song that I like. Oh God, what have they done to it?
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun chaos.
It's so much fun.
Megan, The Dirty Deeds Lay Me Down.
The Dirty Heads Lay Me Down. Sorry. They're a great summery. It's a great summery song, great going to the beach song. I used to listen to this song again in my Suburban with the air conditioner not working, so the windows were all rolled down, and I just cruise along, you know, the city streets and avoid going home after school because, you know, that was torture. Yeah. So that is the vibe that this song gives me. And I appreciate Spence says Lay Me Down was one of Maya and Noah's wedding songs. It's such a good vibe. I agree. It's such a good vibe.
Very cool. CB says WWE used Fake It for Unforgiven 2006 and Remedy for No Way Out 2008. I think it was. And Sherry says Taller Children by Elizabeth and the Catapult. These names, I don't know. I'll definitely have to check it out. Megan says Blackout by Sublime with Rome.
Yes, Sublime
it sounds like English, but not.
Sublime with Rome is the version of Sublime, but it now has Rome singing the lead singer role, and they have to put with Rome because the what's his name? Charlie, help me out. Don't you? The lead singer of Sublime.
Oh, I can see his face. I cannot.
Brad something.
It's an unexpected.
Bradley.
Sure, why not? Yeah. Nobody was.
Anyways,
top quiz.
So his family sued, so they have to say Sublime with Rome. But you can't listen to the Dirty Heads without listening to Sublime with Rome. And Blackout is one of my favorite songs by them, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it as well.
Very cool. I don't know if I've ever heard this, but I look forward to checking it out. Tom says Cliff Diver, who let the hogs out. Oh dear God, Tom. One new punk rock band with an interesting mix of leads. Who let the hogs out?
Yes, the lead singers is a large black woman who does great in the music video. And the other is this, country to biker bar looking white guy.
It sounds like a party, so.
It is. Like, I've been surprised I do enjoy their songs. Like, when you're looking for some new punk rock.
And I do love punk. You are correct. So, okay. Charlie, Heterosexuality by Shamir.
So have you ever wondered what it sounds like on the inside of a queer trans person's head as they scream vacantly into the void, but it's also catchy R&B music?
I mean, not till today, but now I'm curious.
That is this entire album.
This is our infomercial. I'm the audience. What do you want?
I love Shamir's music, and I have loved it for a very long time. This is their their newest album. It is just rage. It is just anger and rage with a really catchy beat in the background and hooks for days. If you are not triggered by a trans person just screaming at how horrible people can be with a really catchy beat in the background.
I mean, but the catchy beat part, yeah.
Shamir has such a beautiful voice. This is kind of like if The Weeknd were queer and trans. It's kind of that kind of a vibe, like the vocals and whatnot. Shamir has a voice kind of similar to Abel's with a very high-pitched falsetto for a lot of it. It is really beautiful singing, and I don't want to take away from that by saying screaming. The lyrics are the screaming. Like it's very
It's not actual screaming.
Yeah, this isn't like screamo.
It's melodic.
It's kind of like, how Abel gets out all of his rage through the music of The Weeknd. It's kind of like that, except for the very queer trans version.
Ah, very nice.
It's a great album.
I mean, I'm very curious. I'll definitely check it out.
So, real quick, Sublime, the lead singer was Bradley Noel, and I was right with Bradley.
Megan passed the pop quiz that she designed herself. Congratulations, Megan. Terry says Wildflower by Park Hyo-shin. I may be not pronouncing that right. Acoustic or studio, it sounds like an angel. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Charlie, Outside, and It's a Sin by Years and Years.
I mentioned It's a Sin last time, and a lot of people said that they had never heard of them. So I love this band. They're a wonderful, wonderful band. You should check them out. These are two very good ways to get into their style of music. They're both covers. It's the cover of George Michael's Outside, except for it's so cute you kind of want to pinch his cheeks. Like, it's just like, you're not really that rebellious. It's fine. It's fine. And It's a Sin is a duet that he does with Elton John. And their voices together on the Pet Shop Boys' It's a Sin is beautiful. These came out not that long ago, and hopefully we'll get you into the wonderful world of Paulo and their other music going back. It's a great band.
Very cool. Cherry says, Done Stealing by Carolina Liar, divorce music, or Drown, much nicer than the title that's on. Definitely will check it out. Tom, Dividing by Zero/Slim Pickens, Does the Right Thing and Rides Away by Offspring. Great counterpart to a song on Megan's playlist with the airplane dogfight. I don't know.
That is a great song.
It's like This Is English, and yet no.
I can't remember the name
There's
of
a
it. I
lot
think maybe
happening
it's Italian.
in this comment, so
Maybe it was an Italian song. I can't remember, but I just remember there's a dog. It's an animated dog fight in the music video you'd posted.
I didn't watch all of the music videos. Some of them were just songs that I had.
No, you posted this for us. This was months back when we all
ages ago. Okay.
Yeah. And then I came across this song because it's like, I haven't heard anything from Offspring in years or a decade or more. Sure, are they still making anything? It's like, yes, they are. And this is a crazy song, and it's entirely animated. And yes, Slim Pickens goes to hell and back.
I mean, music. It's a journey. You know, it's a journey. Cherry says, Scrape the Sky by Can't Stop, Won't Stop if you want to feel like adventuring. Oh, very interesting. Laura, Shiro Sagisu. Oh, no, Glory. That is not with a good Japanese accent. Of the best epic anime composers, look up the compilations by Server Archive on YouTube.
Yeah. So he did soundtracks for Bleach, Berserk, Evangelion, I believe. But yeah, just if you need epic songs that could technically work for a church service about demons rising and hell
don't
raising.
Translate the lyrics.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
no, they're in English.
Yeah, don't
All
look
his
at
lyrics
clearly.
are in English.
That's like .hack.
No one will notice. No one will notice. You know
so
what?
good.
Church people never listen to the lyrics. It's totally fine.
Like one of them is called Lucifer's Dance, and there's like 7 parts, and they're just so good. Yes.
Quick question, because my brain, of course, too many music. Who did Work It Better, Make It Faster?
Daft Punk.
Thanks.
Cherry says, let's just say F Boys Get Money by Femme, and it's actually written like this. So if you are listening to us, please look at the screen to know how to spell that correctly to look it up. Or I guess just wait till Tom puts it all in the comments. And then also the Killmonger theme epic version on YouTube.
Yes, definitely.
Charlie, Don't Pray for Me by Within Temptation.
Within Temptation have been putting out a lot of singles. I feel like an album is brewing from them, or they're just going to be putting out a bunch of singles. I don't know which it is. Don't Pray for Me is their most recent one. It is a beautiful, if you're not noticing a theme to my choices, angry response to all of the like, bad things are happening. Don't worry, I'll pray for you. Like, no, can you actually just do something? Can you just do something? If you have that mood and you need music to go along with, why can't you just do something? This is the song. It's that feeling contained in Sharon Denadell's beautiful voice.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Terry says Dissolve by Abso Facto. I just wanted you to watch me dissolve in a pool of your love. I mean, if that's not a mood, I don't know what is. Tom, The Turntable Turnabout by Mystery Skulls for those missing Daft Punk.
The music video is entirely done in the style of Ace Attorney. The The Game Boy game.
The game. Oh my goodness, that's wrong.
Game Boy game?
Objection!
I have apparently missed out on this little cultural
Phoenix
icon.
Wright. That's it. Phoenix Wright.
Yeah,
Ace Attorney.
Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Yeah. Oh, so
Oh dear, I don't know what
yeah,
it is.
it's like
you have seen the memes, you just don't know that that's what they're called.
Yeah, it's probably it, but
Seems to
I'm
be.
genuinely concerned now.
but yeah, it's like if you haven't you're like, but I haven't heard any good Daft Punk in a while. It's pretty good.
It's
similar-
true. I was thinking that literally last week. Tom? Sorry.
Nothing going.
Okay. Spence says church people think "Take Me to Church" is a Christian song, so
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
you're not wrong, and that makes me so sad.
He also,
I know.
you also think like a prayer is about praying.
Oh, you know what is up with some people who don't listen to the lyrics? All right, anyway, I'm not going to get on that. People are still posting songs, so I have to keep clicking them.
Look, my favorite moment as a teenager with my father, and like truly making that man blush and admit his own ignorance / was asking him what exactly the lyrics from that 1970s classic that he explained was about the movie The Graduate.
Mrs. Robinson?
Yes. Because I was having some problems understanding some of the lyrics.
Like, where did Joe DiMaggio go, Daddy?
And he's just like, I never actually listened. I don't listen to the lyrics.
Our father never listened to the lyrics. You would not believe the scandalous crap this man played, and he still pretended, he like claimed to be such a holy roller to us, and just the trash he would play in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And we just learned as little kids to just keep our mouth shut and enjoy all the naughty music that he was blithely unaware that he was playing for us. It was fantastic.
But the Beach Boys, that was too much.
Oh yes, we would memorize these words. Cherry says, "Shoot" by Salt and Pepper. You are not wrong, ma'am.
And if I could recommend one other Salt and Pepper song, you can only find it on YouTube because it's apparently in Wright's hell and is not on any streaming service. But "Body Beautiful" by Salt and Pepper. One of my favorite songs by them that you can't find anywhere.
Laura, "Delta" by C2C.
Yeah, it has more of an electric vibe to it, but I really like the song. The music video is pretty cool too. It's animated.
Yeah. Cherry says, Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered" by Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Every second of the 7 minutes is worth it. The story, y'all. I may have fantasized an entire parasocial relationship with Ella Fitzgerald just listening to her voice over the last 25 years of my life.
Haven't we all?
Like, I don't want to be a nuisance to her, and I'm glad she's dead, so I'm never tempted, but I kind of also want to be a nuisance to her and just be like one of those creepy fans that shows up to everything. So I'm just kind of lucky that she's already passed away. So I'm not just creeping this woman out all the time.
And if you're not familiar with her personality, check out her live version of Mac the Knife, because between her and the band, most of it is just them ribbing each other, and she forgets to sing the song like 3 times. It's great.
Yes, it's fantastic.
It's absolutely wonderful.
So wonderful. Let's see. Pulaski at Night by, sorry, that was me. By Andrew Bird. The vibes, y'all. And CB says there's an amazing piece of music in Avengers Endgame. It's called The Real Hero. It's near the end of the movie.
Yes.
So something to look up. Yeah. All right. Have we all shared? Are we good? We can keep talking about music, or?
I mean, this is the conversation that never ends. You knew what you were getting into.
Oh, yeah. But, it's just one of these of we have to have these. Yes, I know. Mississippi, goddamn. And I know so much about the back history of this song composition.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much that and the Dixie Chicks song about Mississippi are the two I sing every time I'm mad. And I sing it all the time. Every time I'm mad about being in this damn state. Those are the 2 songs. Mm-hmm. But again, we have to share the music that is foremost in our thoughts, but also recent music we found. We need to share these both for our own edification, but also for everybody else, because Otherwise, we kind of get all stuck in these loops of the music we've already heard.
Mm-hmm.
And these algorithms really keep us in our loops. Like, oh my God, they really try to keep us in our little loops. And the only way we can get more sometimes, it seems like, is if our friends help us. And that's one of the reasons why Tom and I love to host these sort of just music share lists, or just a way for people. People give us so much feedback about the music episodes, because by sharing playlists and sharing music that other people maybe haven't heard because it's not in their loops, they're able to break out. They're able to experience other feelings, other experiences, or just be reminded of, like, yeah, that time Tom and I drove around California for 2 weeks going, what's up with these people? But also we had a wonderful time together driving around California. So it's that is like why we do this. And everybody keeps giving us feedback about how wonderful it is and how they've now discovered new music. We'll get comments and DMs from people who are catching the old music episodes from 2 years ago. They're just now catching them, and they're like, this is so wonderful. Thank you so much. I've discovered at least 60 new songs because of y'all's playlists and the other things. And, you know, the other music people have shared, and then people watching now 2 years later are catching that and looking it up because they're so thirsty for something fresh, something new to them. This is the work we do. And y'all are doing it with us. It's wonderful.
And there's even now been articles out about how hard it is for people to find new music since they're not really listening to the radio. And as we've discussed, Spotify and all the main streaming music services are so bad at recommending music. If you like this one, maybe you should listen to this. Like, no, that's the one song I know I'm not going to like.
Mm-hmm.
I do recommend, if you have access to a streaming service, check out their radio features. They are actually bringing in DJs on a lot of these services that actually are DJs. They're telling you the stories behind the songs. They're putting together a story through the music that they're picking. And you can find a lot of great music because they're just looking for content to keep people in the app. So they're not that concerned like iHeartRadio is about making sure that they're pushing whatever the payola tracks are right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, whatever keeps people's butts in the seats listening to our service and not going to a competitor. So they have a lot of different options for that. And you can find a lot of good music that way, especially once you find somebody that's like, wow, you and I have similar music taste.
Oh, yeah. Like, I know on Spotify, I once literally searched country music lesbians, and I found a whole set of various people's playlists of essentially country music lesbians. And some of it was by actual lesbians playing country music, and some of them were just a vibe, I guess. And there was some oldies that is like, oh yeah, I haven't listened to this in so long. It's like Dolly Parton and stuff. And some of it was new stuff that Tom and I were literally driving around South Mississippi. And it was like, yes, this is so lovely. Like, and some of these we were like, how is this lesbian? I don't know, but fascinating. But we had such a wonderful time listening to other people's playlists about whatever the vibe is supposed to be.
And if anybody has access to Apple Music, I did not know. Well, I suspected, but I did not know how much my musical taste aligns with Mike D from the Beastie Boys. But he has a show on there called The Echo Chamber that is as silly can be because it's Mike D from the Beastie Boys. But the music choices are all over the gamut, from rock to country to blues to electronic to hip hop. And he themes each episodes. And one of my favorite ones that he did was apparently a lost archive of Danish grunge music was discovered. Like 2,000 albums that never got popular outside of Denmark, but they put them on Spotify. Like, they were literally stamped to records. Like, they'd never had CDs made of them. Like, they were old school, like indie press.
Wow.
Music from the 90s that suddenly found their way onto the music services. And it's like, wow, it's the 90s all over again. But oh my goodness, how did we not have this music?
Mm-hmm.
So finding those voices are really helpful, and hopefully Megan and I will be able to do that. Maybe
Yeah,
with some
that'd be
guests or some people on screen for future episodes when we get our shows
I
started.
mean,
Yes.
you invite. Cherry says, last one only by Lehigh if you want to feel what love is like. Very interesting. Provocative pitch. And also, I see she could not resist another one. The Glee mashup of Stop in the Name of Love and Free Your Mind. I agree, Spence. YouTube has given me more good music than any music platform ever has. For me, since I don't have any paid music platform accounts, I would say YouTube and YouTube's automatically generated playlists have actually given me some real rare gems, including these live performances from people doing literally just a 5-minute live performance on YouTube. And I love their stuff, but I didn't know they ever did this. It was just, I guess how they were coping with the pandemic. And really loving their kind of interpretation of all sorts of songs, both their own and others.
And finding good old stuff like Minnie the Moocher.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good. There's some really old
Cab
Being
Calloway.
able to
Cab
look
Calloway.
up, historical stuff like I was doing during one of our sprints during Opera Chat, where I found out Blues Talking and finding the first recorded version of I think it's called Talking Blues. And it was automatically, somebody had already uploaded it to YouTube, so I could actually listen to it. It's just such a wonderful find of being able to listen to these first recordings of things, of like, would you like to hear the first recorded rap song? Would you like to hear the first recorded rock and roll song? Because these vinyl pressings are so rare anyway now. And for somebody to have recorded it and uploaded it to YouTube is such a useful thing to have, that we can all enjoy and appreciate, rather than just having to. I absolutely hate reading somebody's description of a piece of music. I'm like, please no. Either just let me read the sheet music or let me listen to it, because somebody just talking about it, they never describe it accurately, y'all. And I may just be saying that because I'm neurodivergent, but good night, CB.
Night, CB.
I just want to make
other stash.
Okay, I was about to say, I just want to make this abundantly clear. I could just sit here in silence. I don't want to fill it up and take away everybody else's time, but I could just sit here.
Let's see. I think I've run out of music that I'm not. I've got a few songs that I'm saving for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, it's okay. You don't have to
Oh no, I know. I'm just I'm running out of music. I didn't realize I had such little, especially because I shared so much.
I feel like
time.
Overall, though, Laura is a goldmine of what used to be called novelty music, even though I don't think they're novelty.
Mm-hmm.
But what was that set of that guy's stuff you shared with me, Laura, like a month or two ago, where it was like comic horror kind of music? Do you know what I'm talking about? I know.
I listen to a lot of ambient horror and soundtracks from scary movies, spliced together into a gothic playlist video to read to and to write to. Extremely dark academia music is also great for reading and writing to.
I listen to a lot of lo-fi music when I'm reading or doing something that I don't want to get get involved in the lyrics in.
I have some lo-fi Halloween and some lo-fi jazz.
Oh, nice.
Not lo-fi jazz. I have Lo-Fi Halloween, Halloween Jazz, separate ones.
I just wish I could remember, like a month or two ago, I did something, and I swear I broke YouTube's algorithm for me. And so it just started suggesting songs. And as I was going through, like, it was an infinite scrolling list because it was simply packs of 4 songs at a time that had slight relations to each other, either through the name, the band, or the sound, or the genre. And then it'd be, how can this link to something else? And he just started giving me these suggestions, like, okay, go on, because it was from around the world. And it's like, all right, how do I get YouTube to do that again?
Oh, there's this French song. I wish I could remember the name of it. But it's on my boyfriend's playlist that he plays all the time because I inputted my Italian music, and for some reason Pandora was like, oh, you must like French music too. So it started playing like French kind of pop rap music for him. It was pretty funny, but I'm gonna have to think of that song name.
Yeah, also, like, if anyone's found any good DJs of, like, someone whose job it is to keep track of this stuff, let us know.
If, like me, you like really dark music, like if the following genres appeal to you: dark wave, cold wave, EBM, industrial music, check out Dark Communion. They have a podcast and a YouTube channel, and it's nothing but here's the new stuff.
Nice.
And it's from some of the labels that are still putting out music like that, and also a lot of indie bands that contact them. I discover a lot of really beautiful dark music. Do not look for your sunshine and roses here.
Trying to find the playlist that I just listened to today.
All right, everyone. So I'm still working on adding in stuff, but just so y'all have it, I'm about to post a playlist for everyone's suggested.
Excuse me. Everyone's what?
There it is.
All the songs everyone's listed of, hey, I think you should check this out. I'm just going to combine it into this
says
playlist.
This playlist does not exist. Okay.
What the? You? Give me a sec.
Y'all, Tom has to contend with apparently all the males in the side of the family are cursed technology and database wise.
Oh man.
There's databases like refuse to acknowledge Tom's existence sometimes. This has made it interesting in life, so just be aware that Tom is always struggling against this weird kind of digital karma that he inherited from the menfolk.
All right, try it again. See if it'll pop up.
So I just posted a YouTube video that is a playlist that is in the same vein of Over the Garden Wall, but it's called POV, You're the Beast. So it's Over the Garden Wall, Beast Core, Cottage Gore, Dark Academia playlist.
Okay, Tom, I did get it now. It's songs in need of a playlist, 33 videos.
Yeah, I'm still, got a lot to add, but it's just...
Okay.
I was just having a hard enough time keeping up just copying
How
everyone's
is
titles.
Beast Core a core now? All right. Versus Cottage Gore. There's an interesting play on words. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cottage Gore. Do I want to know?
If this feeling goes both ways.
I have to think about that. All right. Yeah, there used to be on MPB, they would play it like Saturday night or sometimes Sunday afternoon or evening. And it was this Irish female DJ. I think her name was Fiona something. I wish I could remember her last name.
She's still there, I think.
She is number one. I absolutely love her accent so dang much. but such an amazing taste in Celtic music. Like, I had always looked for some good Celtic. I like the instruments. I like the sound sometimes. The best taste ever is from her. I was never good at finding on my own versus what she would on these playlists. Was phenomenal in my opinion of her work. But yeah, I cannot remember her last name. It's like, of course, her name's Fiona. I think it's Fiona. I could be wrong. For all I know, it's Mary. Okay, I'm
No, it's
so bad
Fiona.
with names.
I remember it's Fiona something.
Yeah, it would be like something. I think the show for a while was called something with Shamrock. It was Shamrock something, or I don't know. It was like the worst name ever, but it was primarily marketed to American radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
However, her taste in music was phenomenal. So good. Whether she was like, this hour we're going to explore Irish dancing music, or ballads to cry over the loss of your children by it. I'm like, oh, okay, Fiona, but all right, let's go on this ride together.
Fiona Ritchie.
That's
Thistle
it.
and Shamrock.
That's it. This was, as I said, it was like, what is this?
There you go.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
But if you are into or interested in Irish music, I really do recommend her as a DJ. So talented. She is so talented. But yeah, sometimes her subject should be like, this is kind of an unusual subject, but having amorous adventures late at night with imaginary creatures, it is a genre in Irish music. And then it's like, now we gotta listen to an hour of this stuff. It's like, take me there, Fiona.
That's funny.
She has been playing off and on Mississippi Public Broadcasting Radio for 20, 25 years since we were kids.
Wow.
Really. And so over the decades, I have gotten to know her taste, and I happen to agree with it. You may not, but I like that. Again, as I said, she will pick the strangest, most esoteric genres. And when I look it up, wait, that really is a genre of Irish music? Wow, culturally, this is a fascinating perspective. But, that definitely holds because Fiona was playing great quality music. So presumably there's less good quality of this genre that she was like, hard pass,
That just... I forgot. Right.
It went so fast, huh?
No, it was just since Laura's here, it did remind me though of the so apparently 2 years ago in Canada, they made an unholy creation that Canadians enjoyed called Kraft macaroni and cheese pumpkin spice.
Oh yes, Tom was hot under the collar, Laura, that you had never mentioned this cosmic horror that exists in Canada.
You want to see some other horror?
He came home hot.
And these
Hold on,
on the back. Try our mac and cheese.
What's the cover again?
Just
Puff soufflé.
Puff soufflés.
because it's got to be in French too.
That too, right?
Yeah, and I've seen that macaroni and cheese on the shelf in the grocery store as I
Yeah,
hard pass by it.
It's in a pumpkin spice cup.
Oh man.
So rude. It's and I'm like, whoa, that is wild. I love, what is it? Dressed or all dressed chips.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, I actually enjoy ketchup chips. I never thought I would like those, but
I love ketchup chips.
Yeah, it turns out they're actually quite delicious.
Yeah,
So addicting.
I love them.
Even Tom was like, no, that sounds like an abomination. And then our local discount grocery store carried them for a little bit. It was just they had gotten one shipment in.
Oh no, I had them in the Philippines. That's where I liked them.
But Tom was like, no, it's an abomination. And then like we got it, and Tom was like, this is good.
It's
And
the,
then he remembered
it's the
you
hint
had
of
to-
vinegar in it.
Yeah. And I was like, look, Canadians know chips. And then Tom comes home all hot under the collar, like, can you believe pumpkin spice mac dinner? What the hell? Arr! And I was like, I don't know. All right, Tom, it's Canada. The blizzards make them go a little loopy. I don't know what to tell you.
It gets dark too early in the winter, man.
That's
Start
what
losing our
it's
minds.
winter madness. It gets to them. It's understandable. It would get to anyone. Everyone would have winter madness and be like, let's just put pumpkin spice in everything.
Is that not the way it works?
I hope it doesn't. I don't want it to. Well, Tom, we are at the 3 hour. Technically, we have satisfied the requirements to call it Awkward Sibling 3 hour.
It's true. I think we've covered just everything we wanted to cover of this one, of new music, why we want to find it, good playlists. I mean, really, find playlists you like or make your own. Like, they are a wonderful thing. We do not listen to enough music anymore. And yeah, iHeart really has ruined a lot of interest.
Oh yeah, that company is evil.
Yes, I'm glad someone else agrees with me, because no one else I talk to is like as against it as I
Like,
am.
they don't even hide anymore that it's payola.
Remember when payola was the scandal?
And now they're like, no, to be on iHeart, you have to do payola.
What is
That's-
payola?
You pay for play.
Okay.
So iHeartRadio only plays music when the artist or the record company plays iHeart to play it on the air. As if it's all commercials. Like, so essentially you're listening to music commercials because they paid for the play.
The angry way to say it is it's that thing that people used to go to jail for doing and was a scandal.
I was like, do you remember when payola was the scandal? And people did, you're right, people did go to jail over it. And now iHeart is such an enormous conglomerate that they've had the FCC laws changed, or the rules changed. So they do payola without having to tell people that artists or the record companies have paid for play. So people think that what they're hearing is out of merit, out of popularity, when it is not.
Which is why most people have stopped listening to the radio, because
It's crap. It's crappy music.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's all auto-tuned, so there's no nuance to the voices. It's so polished, it has no merit, it has no flavor. Ugh. It's crap. And that is why we do these kind of episodes. Have you all been chewing on music? What you got that's got flavor left? Share what you got.
Hopefully by
Because
the next
That's how
time.
you go.
Hopefully by the next time we do this, we will be able to share our Oscar Mayer song.
Yes.
My God, yes. As well as Tom's death metal bagel song.
In the morning. Yeah.
Tom, do you want to give them a taste? Nope. Look at that. No, because the face that went with it, y'all. Mwah.
It may be a thing that has to happen.
Does anyone have final thoughts they'd like to share? Is there anything still on your chest that you would like to get off of it before we end this season?
Don't be embarrassed by the music you like. The music you like is the music you like. There's no reason for embarrassment. That we have tied so much shame to so many things in our society where it really doesn't belong, and eradicated it for places where it kind of does. It confuses me. Music is not something you should be ashamed of. If it is something that you love, that means something to you, it's fine. It's fine. Just love what you love. There's so little love in this world. If you find it in anything, embrace it with all of your heart and vigor, and don't let anybody take it away from you.
Agreed. Does anyone else have some final thoughts? Anything they want to get off their chest?
It doesn't matter what your parents say. You can like what you like.
Amen. I feel like music your parents will hate is a subgenre. You know, do you remember We're Not Gonna Take It? Like, the music video on that is definitely, this is the genre. I love the father keeps falling out of every window. Like, it's just hilarious. You know, in part because it's very much Hollywood, everything breaking and him falling out of it. Like, it's meant, you're not meant to worry about the safety of this person. But it is
You're kind of a little sad that he doesn't get hurt any more than he does.
Yeah. Although I liked it when the flower pot falls on him and breaks. Like, that, oh, that felt good. Like, it was very cartoonish and I enjoyed it. And I remember how appalled my father was the one time I saw this music video on MTV. And that is how MTV got literally banned from our house on our account with the cable station.
Oh, no.
Yes. I was like, how appropriate. I feel this is highly appropriate. But yes, maybe
Yay.
Maybe also like make a playlist of music your parents would hate. Whether they're alive or not, just try it out, see how it feels. It may feel a little good.
Honestly, my parents and I have such similar tastes. I don't know what I would play that they would hate. Like,
nobody needs a playlist with 21,000 songs on it.
My dad used to take me to concerts, and like he would sit in the back feeding oranges to the people who were high, and
oranges.
Yeah, he would bring with him snacks because, of course, and usually they were the little mini cuties, and he would sit there peeling them, and then the people next to him who happened to be high were like drooling over him, and he's like, "Do you want a piece?" And he just
I feel like this is like the daddest dadding example ever of how you know you're a dad, whether you have children or not. You don't need children. You just need to feed cuties, slices of cuties to like high people at a concert, and that is how you know you become a father.
It's only a father if it is out of your fanny pack.
No, he had a little tote bag, but he did have a fanny pack that he owned.
I don't mean to like be offensive with this in any way, shape, or form, but it kind of makes me want to write a book called How to Win Friends. Was it How to Win Friends and Influence Strangers?
Yeah,
for stoners. Because this is like rule number one.
Right.
Always have snacks.
Always have snacks. Just one section at a time. Here you go, my little high friend.
He did it more because he enjoyed knowing that their mouths were probably really dry, dry mouth, and he was teasing them with the brief relief of the orange, and then it would be gone. And he went at it from a kind of a torture perspective, but
somehow that makes the story all the better.
Yeah, I am enjoying where this story is going.
You found a way to improve it, and I don't know how.
I like this as a final thought. Like, let everybody think about Megan's father with his sack of cuties at a concert, going, "Are you high, Pop?"
I'm not saying that this is a character that will appear in a story I'm working on, but this may be a character that appears in a story I'm working on.
This just feels like such a mood of like, this is how the straights are okay. Is just, hi, yeah, I'm not here to do drugs. I'm just here to enjoy the music and also feed the stoners. Here you go. Like, is like, you know, at the zoo where you can like you can put a quarter into the machine so you can feed the ducks or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like that, only instead, hi, yes, I would like to buy a sack of cuties. I'd feed the stoners. This is where they congregate. Good times. It's so cute. I love that. Did anybody else have final thoughts of anything at all?
It's not final thoughts, but just reiterating prior one of don't let anyone else tell you how to enjoy any music. Music is personal. Enjoy it the way you want to.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, like, try, if you hear something like in a movie and it just could be that's an interesting song. Not necessarily that you love it when you hear it, but just that's interesting, or I've never heard that kind of sound. Look it up. You could look it up on, usually there's a Wikipedia article about it, or at least a bunch of them. There's a Wikipedia article. And from there, you can find out more about that song. You can also then go there and find out what genre and explore that genre a little bit. Sometimes there's a historical background to it. You can really just go down a rabbit hole of fun about music, about that particular songwriter, for instance, or anything, maybe something you just didn't know about yet. Because unfortunately, music history and music theory is not taught in most schools. And so most people are, just they don't know what they don't know. And you can really explore and find some real gems. I did not find and fall in love with Ella Fitzgerald or Billie Holiday, for that matter, until my local public library, when I was a teenager, set up and got a little CD music selection section. They'd gotten a grant for it, and among their list of a couple hundred CDs that they initially bought, one of them was Billy Crystal talks about Billie Holiday. It was Billy on Billy or something like that. And I had just seen City Slickers and enjoyed it. I was a child. And I was like curious. I thought it was going to be a comedy album. It was not. But that is where, like, truly Billy Crystal, it's in the liner notes is really where you see Billy Crystal talking. But the music is all just Billie Holiday. It's just curated playlist. And reading about what Billy Crystal thought of Billie Holiday and talking about Billie Holiday's history when I didn't know who this was. So this was my toe dip in. And then from trying to find out about Billie Holiday and asking my library, do you have anything more? And they're like, no, but we do have Ella Fitzgerald. And, she was a contemporary you might enjoy, And that is how I got into Ella Fitzgerald and so on, of just go down those rabbit holes is what I would like to encourage. This is where I'm trying to go, is find music rabbit holes to go down. Whether you think you know everything there is to know about all of music, or you're like, I just found out that they put sounds together and you can listen to them and it's cool. And just explore those rabbit holes because they are so much fun. They're gratifying. I think that's all I have to say. I can't exactly tell you what we're doing next Monday because Tom and I have not decided. We're
going back to movies.
We're doing movies. We're going to be exploring movies, and we're going to specifically exploring gender roles in movies. And I promise you, it's not that dry. Don't turn off yet. No, come back. I promise you.
Oh, it will not be dry.
Everything going on right now, gender is very spicy.
Yes. And that is why, because I will give you a taste. This is the only taste I can give you. I recently fell asleep watching Back to the Future. And I kept waking up a little bit, hearing a little bit of the whole trilogy playing, and then we go back to sleep. And when I woke up after all three movies had played twice, I woke up and I was just laying in bed thinking about the movie trilogy. And that night I told Tom I had a new pitch for Back to the Future. One teenager's struggle to overcome his own 1980s style toxic masculinity. And it is from that pitch that we came up with an entire season of episodes where essentially we're going to talk about popular movies, various popular movies, and how they are examples of toxic masculinity or toxic femininity or positive masculinity or positive femininity. And even as well, like where people go from toxic to positive. Maybe both, all the, gender identification kind of moves to a more positive, or maybe they're just all wallowing in their toxicity. But we thought writers could really do with some nice, viewable examples of these to inspire their own writing, and also see how various filmmakers have explored these kind of gender roles. And so we'd love for you to see you next Monday. We will know by Wednesday what our lineup is, though. Charlie's posted a link. Not safe for work. Gender theory for dudes.
This is Chill Goblin's latest video. It is one of the best breakdowns of all of gender theory from start to finish. But the shtick is he's talking to cis straight dudes in the most cis straight dude manner he possibly can. He opens the video by opening a bottle of beer with his eye and then continues to chug it while the voiceover keeps going. It is a demonstration of theory through the discussion of theory, and I absolutely loved it. It is funny. It is offensive in the way that it needs to be to get you to understand the section on toxic masculinity. And so not safe, but definitely if you're not familiar with gender theory, there are a lot of places to go. But if all of the erudite discussion hasn't gotten through to you and you need like surly Canadian, I'm going to make fun of cis straight dudes, and like it has everything but a monster truck. It's missing a monster truck. It's the only thing.
Probably because it was too expensive to rent.
Yeah, it's the only thing that is not in this video that may have made it better, is if at some point he was riding around in a monster truck. But it's really interesting because it really is gender theory for cis straight people, and how gender theory actually affects people that aren't trans, and how you can understand trans and non-binary people through that experience. It's a really, for all of its crassness at times, it is a very thoughtful video.
Very nice. I look forward to watching it. So with that, we shall wave you all off into the sunset and hopefully see you next Monday. Goodbye. Mwah, mwah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.